Hey everyone. I thought I'd answer some questions that a few people seem to have because there seems to be a bit of confusion. So the basic point is I want this professor's meeting to be recorded, and I think everyone should sign this petition so we can see why George Cicarillo Ma tweeted "All I want for Christmas is a white genocide." Um, this is uh, this is obviously not a call for censorship because I'm asking him to speak. So when there were a couple of the regular SJW, I guess they'd think they were activists or something, but the regular SJWs on Twitter who are like, "Oh my god, he's asking for censorship." It's like, well, I'm asking him to speak. I don't really see how that's censorship. But as soon as I asked them to actually read the petition, they kind of backed down and were then just sort of degenerated into the usual petty shit slinging. So I'm not really worried about that. But there are a bunch of people who don't seem to understand why this is important, and I really think it's important to go over why it's important to explain this because this is how we can force them to change. Now, I'll be having a chat with Monday Matt about this at some point, but I wanted to get this out of the way first to kind of set the stage for a future chat on it because he was like, "Well, we shouldn't do this because this isn't what we agree with," and I agree. This isn't what I wouldn't want like a guy to be punished for tweeting out what he considers satire, even if it was something that offended loads of people. But I'm not the one in charge, and I'm not the one setting the rules. They set the rules, and now we have to make them be held to them. What do you reckon, V?
No, I completely agree. I mean, the rules right now is that you can't be racist on campus. That's the rules they set. So either they change the rules and they allow people to be racist on campus, or they punish the guy for being racist on campus.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not asking him for him to be punished, but I mean, I wouldn't expect him to punish him, but I do like the way that the university utterly disavowed it, calling it utterly reprehensible and deeply disturbing. Because, well, I mean, it is a deeply disturbing thing taken out of context.
In what context is killing white people acceptable?
Well, it's the context of him being a Marxist professor, a literal communist who thinks that this is such a ridiculous thing that it's a joke to just say it. But obviously, it's only a joke if you're one of the people who thinks that it's not real. If you're one of the many thousands of people who thinks it is real, then it's not a joke. I mean, I personally don't think there's a white genocide going on, but I'm more interested in watching these people be hanged with their own rope, and I think that's the really important thing. So, and I hate to do this, and I realize that any right-wing people listening are going to be totally triggered, but you should have been reading Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, because on page 128, the fourth rule is make the enemy live up to their own book of rules. You can kill them with this, for they can no more obey their own rules than the Christian church can live up to Christianity. That is what we're doing with this petition. And that's why we have to all sign it, so we can get as many people as possible on our side and say, look, this is your rule. You have to abide by it. We want to know why this person was being racist and why this person isn't being fired for being racist. And if that takes the form of you having a meeting with the guy, we want to see it. Let us be a fly on the wall. Let's give this man as much free speech as we can and show the world exactly why he thought this was acceptable. And then he will be forced to go into his SJW Marxist stupid bollocks about you can't be racist to white people, and many more people will see it. The point is to red pill as many normies as possible. So causing a big stink about this is the way to do it. It gets media outlets covering it, and that's what we want. What do you reckon, B?
No, what I don't understand about this is why is fascism not allowed on campus? Like if I would start spreading Nazism or white nationalist propaganda, I would be banned, but spreading communist is fine. I mean, why is one ideology that killed millions of people okay, while another ideology is bad? Either you ban both or you allow both.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree. This is the point. It's the fact that these rules are not being applied consistently. I mean, I don't like these rules, but the whole point of giving them a good taste of their own medicine is to make them understand that their rules are bad rules, and they're only good rules when they're only applied to one side and not the other. So this is something that we really have to do. So there's a link in the description. Please do take the time to sign the petition. And I'll just email it to them and say, look, for example, they have a petition of their own in support of this guy that they have 6,000 signatures on, which is not very many, obviously, but it's more than we would expect. And listen to this. George is an outspoken, witty, and fiercely anti-racist. And I love that. Anti-racist means, well, white genocide.
Yeah, he hates white.
What
I don't understand is they usually say that people can't talk about race because it's white fragility. Like, we actually want him to talk about race, right?
Yeah,
we are not fragile.
Fragile at all.
Yeah, we're not fragile. I want him to talk about race. I want him to explain to me why he thinks it's okay to kill white people.
Yeah, I want this guy wall to wall on every news channel in the world, explaining to everyone why he tweeted out, "All I want for Christmas is white genocide." I in fact want to enhance his speech beyond all his wildest expectations. I think the entire world should know this. And I think that would really help us explain and red pill people as to what the SJWs are about.
Unless he has professor fragility, eh? Do you think he has like a university?
You mean academic fragility?
Academic fragility.
Hashtag academia so fragile. What can't you? I might hashtag the stream actually. I like that.
No, I'm really interested in what he has to say. He's here to educate me, and I want to be educated on why is it okay to kill off white people, especially...
Not just joke about it in general. I just want to know exactly, what goes through his mind to get to this point.
Especially with an ideology that killed millions of Romanians. I am definitely interested in hearing out about that as well. Like, why does he support communism? The Russians actually created artificial hungers in my country. They killed off intellectuals.
Of course.
Yeah. He did tweet it out, saying that history forgave Fidel Castro.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm very interested in him having a discussion with someone from Cuba. I would really like to see.
Possibly in exile. Possibly someone who was unable, in fact, to enjoy their freedom of speech. Unlike Mr. Cicarillo Mar here, who we're actively encouraging to use his freedom of speech.
I would like to see how he manages to talk about killing white people without offending anyone.
I totally agree. I mean, let's go through this quickly. He's been extensively harassed as the target of a racist internet troll campaign out of Breitbart. Now, I don't know if Breitbart have done anything about this. But I'm not interested in harassing him. I'm interested in hearing him. So preserve academic freedom and wit and intelligence and anti-racism in this nasty new era of living in the United States of internet trolls. I love this. Everyone is a troll. Just everyone's a troll. Just everyone on Earth is a troll because they have a problem with what you're saying.
A troll is a person who says something they don't believe in just to spark feelings and get people emotional.
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to get him emotional. I want him to explain why he thinks communism is a good idea and why he thinks killing white people is a good idea.
Yeah, I want to hit in detail.
Why does he want my mother to die? Why does he want to kill my mom?
Why is he okay with firing squads? That's the thing I think I'm most interested in. People who speak out against repressive communist dictators end up getting shot, and I want to know why he's okay with that.
Yeah.
What is it about human rights that he's objecting about? Why is he in opposition to the concept of human rights?
What about white babies? That you want to kill those as well?
Yeah, I mean, the Haitian Revolution was a great thing, but they used to murder white children. They murdered a whole host of white children in the Haitian Revolution. So it's just like,
Should we wait for the baby to be born, or can we kill him while he's in his mother womb and you get like one shot for two? I really care. I would really like to have a discussion.
Honestly, I think the most important question is: does it matter if they're asleep or not? Do you have to wake them up before you murder them, or do you just kill them in your sleep?
Well, I mean, if a pillow is at handy, I guess. And I'm curious if he would do some of the murderings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you put a gun in his hand, would he fire the first shot, or would he just encourage other people to do it? These are all really important questions that I think this professor should ask. George, come on, man, just come out and just explain to us. Come on and stream with me. I'll give you whatever platform you want to tell everyone exactly why these things are good. But
I'm not even going to talk. I'm just going to listen. I will just be like,
But listen to this, right? So support George. Let Drexel know in the midst of the deafening, organized troll storm that racist trolls deserve no platform in dictating academic discourse, let alone the off-duty tweets of academics. They are being very noisy. We can't be silent. Well, 6,000 people, it's not that many.
What exactly did they say in their comments? Because I'm also curious.
Yeah, I mean, we've got almost 10,500, but that's not nearly as many as I would hope.
So they believe that the people who are complaining about white genocide, they're not really bothered by it. I mean, it's completely fine that a university professor who teaches students believes that white people should be killed. That's no one should be concerned by it, and the only people who are actually concerned are trolls.
Yeah. So the first one is tolerance of intolerance is no virtue. If we extend unlimited,
that makes no sense. No, hold on, my brain is stuck.
No. It's more the irony of them saying this that
that's exactly what. Yeah, right. Okay.
But yeah, if we extend unlimited tolerance even to those who are intolerant, we are not prepared to defend a tolerant society against the onslaught of the intolerant, then the tolerant will be destroyed and the tolerance with them. That's a great point, Jay. I totally agree.
I should be tolerant of him wanting to genocide white people.
Yes, no. Actually, by Jay McKinnon's message there, you need to be intolerant of this professor. That's what he's saying, because this professor is not being tolerant; he is being intolerant. I mean, he couldn't be any more intolerant on his position on quote unquote racists. So I'm fully in agreement that we shouldn't tolerate intolerance at all. It's also a good argument against Islam. I like it. We can use that anywhere. I'm so glad these progressive activists are finally coming around. Anyway,
wait, only 2 comments. So you got 4,600,000 signatures.
Let me translate it to English because fuck.
But it's really weird. You have 4,600 signatures, and only 2 people bothered to comment.
No, I think there are more. Yeah, there are more.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah. George Ciccariello is a great anti-racist pedagogue, and what is utterly reprehensible is Drexel University's failure to stand with him against white nationalists. Right, so it's only white nationalists that are concerned about this, apparently.
See, if he would have said, like, we need to kill all white nationalists, even though I'm not a white nationalist, I would still take an issue with it.
Exactly.
However, he might actually have a point then. It's like, well, he's against white nationalists, so that's why they're upset. But no, he said kill all white people. Unless he believes all white people are white nationalists, right? Unless he believes my mom is a white nationalist. Then, again...
More importantly, unless he thinks my dad is a white nationalist.
If he thinks your dad is a white nationalist, who needs to be killed as well. Yeah.
I tell you what, my dad's grown an awesome beard over the past couple of weeks. I've seen him a couple of times, and he's got this amazing looking beard. He looks scary with it. It's fucking awesome.
What's even
fucking so patriarchal, mate.
You know what's even funny? The professor is white himself.
Of course he is.
What's his name? What's his name?
George Ciccariello Marr.
Okay, George, if you listen to this, kill yourself. No, answer, George. Kill yourself.
Well, it would be part of the white genocide. So, I mean, we couldn't tolerate that kind of intolerance. So, George, don't be intolerant towards yourself. Just allow yourself to be recorded and speak about your intolerance. I want to hear it.
And after that, kill yourself.
Obviously, we're not encouraging anyone to kill themselves.
Well, if you think I have the mind-altering capabilities of performing Jedi mind tricks on him, and he will actually put a hanging rope.
Yeah, I know, but it's just something that it's not productive for our side of the discussion.
Normally, I wouldn't say to encourage someone to kill themselves. But he wants white people to commit genocide. He is white. Therefore, he can actually help the white genocide along. He does have this in his power. If he wants all white people to die and he is white, why not set an example, Joe?
He did say abolish the white race. Now, I mean, I have no idea how many gas chambers that would require, but maybe George, being an academic, has done a study on this. Maybe he was like, well, look, if we look at the German capacity at Auschwitz and Dresden, wherever they had gas chambers, And if we look at the production, maybe we get Kraut to crunch the numbers for us. He did it with King of Pole the other day. Crunch the numbers, and maybe George could show us exactly how many we're going to need to wipe out the white race.
I'm also curious, if you wipe out the white race and the human population of Earth is not going to be any better, who's going to be responsible for this call?
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, if things just get worse and not better after killing all whiteys, who do you blame? I mean, you could. I imagine they'd probably blame the white people anyway. They'd be like, "This is their fault for allowing us to genocide them."
Yeah, no, they'll probably come up with the bullshit. It's like, well, it's probably going to get better in like 300 years after we get rid of the slavery, of white slavery and whatnot.
Yeah. Eventually.
Yeah, the effects of white imperialism still you can feel them today.
Yeah, even though all the white people are dead because we gassed them. So yeah, I like this. Cracker Killer has posted a very insightful and academic comment. Kill all crackers with a Z. Yeah, very.
I'm wondering if they're actually trolling at this point.
I like this. I am signing this because I'm not a Nazi sympathizer like Drexel University.
Well, he made the best argument for everyone to become a Nazi. It's like, look, if you don't want white people to be genocided, then you're a Nazi. Then everyone is to be a Nazi. I mean, it's not. Jesus Christ.
I love it. I absolutely love it. He is retarded. No, George is a fuckhead.
Why did he sign the petition? I'm curious how many people signed this petition by trolling.
Probably a few. But yeah, fascist shit is real. It's as real as communist shit. I don't want Drexel's holiday PR crew to determine the terms of this conversation. That's an interesting statement. I don't really either. But they kind of have. So let's hear his reasoning. And this is the thing. All I want is for the public to be able to be a fly on the wall in this conversation.
It's like, don't let internet trolls dictate the terms of our conversations. We're not telling you the terms, okay? We're not arranging how the conversation should take place. We just want to listen. You're not going to be able to talk or anything. We just want to listen to what the conversation is about.
Yeah, we just want to know why he says what and thinks what he thinks. Is that really so much of a problem? Asking a college professor who teaches, students and who posts inflammatory public statements to explain what these mean is hardly, how is that bad?
To be fair, we're actually giving him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, Hulk Hogan wasn't given the benefit of the doubt to explain what he means before he got fired. That L'Oreal Nobel Prize winner, the guy who was fired over sexist jokes, he wasn't given a platform to explain what he meant. In today's society, no one is given the platform to explain what they mean when they say something offensive. We're actually being generous here, and we're allowing the guy to explain when white genocide is acceptable.
Yeah.
When it's acceptable to kill my mom. I really want to hear it.
I like this. We can't let white supremacists dictate what is and isn't free speech. Oh, well, then if they're not doing it, what, are you doing it? I mean, who is dictating what is and isn't free speech?
But I want the guy to talk. I don't want him to shut up. That's the thing. I want to listen to him.
I like here's a bit of ivory tower elitism. As a fellow academic, we must stand against the bigoted hate spewing out of the trailer parks of Middle America. We don't need to listen to the uninformed opinions of people who don't even exist and yet can still vote.
Little did Ellie know that this hatred is coming from the trailer park of Great Britain.
Exactly. But can you imagine that? Can you imagine being so contemptuous of your fellow citizens that you actually think, these people don't even exist? I mean, he said that the uninformed opinions of people who don't even exist. Who the fuck do you think you're opposing then?
Well, earlier she did say that the people exist and they live in trailer parks, and now she's like, the people don't even exist. Yeah. But I like how, okay, so first of all, she's a Jew. She's from Israel. I've just have to point it out.
But, this is your Uncle Coincidence detector going on.
But I like it's like, as a fellow, it's weird because it's from Israel. You usually get this shit from Canada. You usually get this shit from... And notice how most of these people, they're not even from his university. It's I'm just pointing out that's why you get 6,000 people, because it's 6,000 people all across the globe. It's not his university students.
Yeah.
And we get from even the god-awful country of United Kingdom.
White people need to lighten up and get a sense of humor, as well as we tell people of color to do all the bloody time. Yeah, that's true. And if someone tweeted out black genocide, the mainstream media would be going fucking nuts. So, I mean, this is the point, Avery Solman. This is the point. It's the double standards. We want one standard for everyone, so everyone knows exactly what the standards they have to abide by are. Is that really so much to ask for?
But this is the thing, right? I want to know if the guy was joking. I mean, if the guy comes up and goes like, well, you know, I was trolling that day. I wanted to piss off a little bit of people from Breitbart because they were in my mentions, and, you know, I wanted to rile them up. That's fine. You know, I would be like, okay, so he was joking. But if you would be like, no, I'm serious. I do think that whiteness is a social construct and we need to get away with it. I'd be like, holy shit, you know. Look at him. Just.
Yeah, he really does look like he's got a punchable face, doesn't he? I mean, you wouldn't want if you had to talk to this guy in a bar, you'd be like, all right, mate. All right.
He looks like a video game journalist, honestly.
He does. He absolutely does. And desperate hipsterdom. That's what
I would say. It's even worse than Kotaku. It's Polygon level.
So I guess should we take some like comments from the chat and stuff? And like
let's
see.
What do you think about white genocide, by the way?
Well, it's not happening. There are more white people around now than ever before. And again, to call it a genocide, it has to be a deliberate plan. And I don't think that the people who actually want it are in the position to control what's happening. They're just really in support of it.
You know what I think?
So is there anyone in opposition to the petition? Because I'm happy to answer your questions. You know, I'll see if I can grab any off Twitter or something like that.
Well, while you gather the answers, the interesting thing is like so the white genocide is that Muslims are out fucking whites, right? So that's a genocide.
Is that a genocide?
That's what they're saying. But the question is, if they wouldn't come into Europe, right, and they would still stay in the Middle East on a global scale, wouldn't there still be a genocide? I mean, just moving them to Europe doesn't mean that they're going to have any different. Just having them in Europe doesn't mean that on a global scale the fucking isn't going to take place. So there's still going to be a genocide whether they come to Europe or they stay in their countries.
Yeah, well, if white people choose not to breed, that's not genocide.
Well, that's what they're calling it. It's like,
like you're suggesting the pandas are genociding themselves, and it's like,
yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, no, that's not a genocide. That's white people deciding they would just rather not have kids.
Not to mention that statistically, it shows that Muslims who are coming to Europe are breeding less. So if anything, they're stopping the genocide because there are less people.
Yeah, it's just a feature of being wealthy, living in wealthy countries. You just have less kids.
And high
disposable income, probably.
You know, this is another funny thing about white nationalists, because they always raise the IQ on a pedestal, but it turns out that people who have high IQ have less children.
Yeah, that's true. Right, so there's this person called Delirium Lunacy on Twitter who thinks that this is a privacy issue. Do you see this as being a privacy issue at all?
Well, it's up to the university if they're going to allow the conversation to be public or not. Sure. But this is important for the university. I mean, I want to know, like, people want to know if they want to send their kids there, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a public issue. I mean, the thing is that this guy's job is directly influenced by what he believes, right? He is a university professor. We're not talking about a plumber. We're not talking about an engineer. You know, some cable guy or whatnot.
He teaches hundreds, probably thousands of young people.
Yeah, this is what he teaches people. This is part of his job.
Yeah.
And if he believes something like this, then, you know, he should elaborate what exactly does he mean.
Yeah, but more than that, there is a much wider context of what's going on, which it's something that annoys me that people deliberately ignore. This guy isn't operating in a vacuum. You know, he's not the only college professor who happens to be a total bigot, it appears, and who happens to think that this kind of thing is funny. And I really think that it would help out everyone if he would just explain himself. So, I mean, and if this was like him, like in his home, I would obviously be like, well, obviously don't. But it's not. This is a public institution. It's a university. Well, I mean, it's privately owned, but it's publicly attended institution. He teaches the public. whatever he wants to teach them, and now he's in trouble for a racist tweet. So I would like to see why he did it. I don't see why this is a violation of privacy, and I'm not even like demanding. I'm just asking. I'm asking the university, excuse me, can you please record this? What's wrong with that? I mean, they've always got the opportunity to say no. They don't have to do something. I've got no power to force them. But if they see that, 10,000 people also want to see it, they might think, maybe this is a larger issue. Maybe. And this is the point. The more people who sign the petition, the more they're going to think, well, Christ, this is actually a big issue, isn't it? This is connected to a much bigger tapestry of things that are going on. So
I think the SJWs and the people who are supporting this professor are expecting that the meeting is going to be a slap on the wrist. They're going to call him there and be like, oh, well, you did that. Oh, you naughty goose, don't do it again. And, they will slap his wrist. And if it's recorded, then they won't be able to do that. They will actually have to have an honest conversation with the guy and ask him WTF.
That's it. That's exactly the question.
Because I don't think the other teachers and the head of the university doesn't know the kind of nonsense this guy is teaching.
No, I can imagine that a lot of them don't.
I'm honestly curious, like, if you can teach Nazism at the university, because you can teach communism, apparently, right? You can go there and you can teach communism just fine. I'm curious if I would want to teach a white nationalist study, and let's say call it something else in order to, like, I don't know, what would you make a name for white nationalism that sounds more appealing?
I don't know.
The right way or something.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I whatever name they come up for themselves is fine with me.
No, because it's interesting, right? They don't teach communism. They don't teach Marxism. They teach gender studies, sociology, whiteness study. They always use like these code words so that you don't really know what the fuck you're going to be taught. So if I would teach a white nationalism course, I would also have to make a code word.
Yeah, you'd have to make up a big sort of SJW style lexicon that that's the sort of thing that is the work of many hands and takes many years. This is the thing people don't understand about the SJWs. They've been doing this for like 30-40 years, and there have been thousands of them producing books and papers and whatnot that have eventually built up this ideology of intersectional social justice. This hasn't just come out of nowhere. You
know what's interesting? They have their own peer review circles. Like the same people, there's like 5 or 6 people who are peer reviewing each other's work.
Yeah.
That's unheard of. I mean, that's
peer review circle jerks are definitely a thing.
Yeah. So they can publish anything they want in their and they don't have any side of outside influence to validate or to check if their findings are true or not, because they just peer review each other's works. It's like, I peer review mine, you peer review yours, and it's like,
yeah, and then it'll all be peer reviewed and it'll be real science.
Yeah, the thing with peer review is like mostly a formality for these people. And one of them actually said that they want to deal away with peer review altogether because it slows down the progress of social justice.
Yes, I have seen that as well. So I'm very curious as to what his opinion on that would be. I mean, I'm sure you would say that that's a terrible thing. Okay, so I've got a question here. Is it possible that they use our responses as a stick to beat us? For example, if they went up to Philip Davies for his comments. Philip Davies is a British MP who's an anti-feminist who's just been elected to the Women's and Equalities Commission, which is causing an SJW meltdown in Parliament. And there are SJWs in our Parliament, just in case you didn't know.
So what? Record Philip's comments on that? I think Philip would love it. I think
exactly. If this was Philip Davies, I would be applauding them, giving him a platform, and I would probably be emailing Philip saying, "Dude, broadcast it. Make them broadcast it. Let everyone see what you're saying and what you're having to defend against, so they can be like, the people asking these questions are fucking nuts." Which you would think that if George Ciccariello-Maher actually had the courage of his convictions, he'd be demanding. He'd be like, no, I want everyone to see exactly why white genocide is just fine. I stand by it. Go on, George, stand by it. That's what I want. I want to see you stand by what you say. And if you won't, why not? If not, why not?
This is the thing. I honestly think these people realize that what they're doing at some level is probably wrong.
Yeah, they do.
And
they absolutely do.
Yeah, I mean, this is why they keep making pseudonyms for what exactly they mean. It's like it's not communism, it's gender studies, right? It's not it's not removal of white people, it's diversity. And they make up these claims because they know that the majority of the public will not agree with their shit. I mean, it's outrageous to demand white genocide for literally anyone. I mean,
yeah. Sam Cholly from None of the Above has asked about something else, but I'll just answer it quickly. Genuine question. Out of Lacey Green and Richard Spencer, whose ideas do you think are more dangerous on the whole? There's no difference. Their ideas are basically the same. It's just who is going to be hurt is the question, Sam, just in case you were wondering.
I don't know who Richard Spencer is.
He's the king of the alt-right.
Oh.
No, that's not true. Donald Trump is king of the alt-right. Richard Spencer's like...
I thought Andrew Anglin is the king of the alt-right.
Well, maybe now, actually. Maybe, I mean, he used to be, well, like nobody, because nobody cared. But now that the Daily Stormer is more popular than several prominent progressive blogs, who knows? Maybe his star has risen. Maybe he's an important chap in the alt-right.
See, people don't understand that these ideologies are bad for the people they protect as well. The moment you're like a POC, because not a Pokemon, a person of color, and you disagree with them, you're now on the out group. You now need to be punished. You need to be dealt with. And it's the same with the alt-right, with the white nationalist part of the world.
Oh, yeah. They're doing exactly that to Cernovich and Milo Yiannopoulos right now.
Yeah. Well, Milo is a Jew. So.
Yeah, exactly. He's a gay Jew. They hate him. They absolutely hate him. And Cernovich, they're having some sort of thing called a deplorable, which is just going to be like a meetup for the alt-right. And Cernovich has said that some guy who is bringing up the Jews can't come, and they don't want Nazi salutes happening there. And a bunch of people in the alt-right are like, well, this is you being an e-celeb and just enforcing your will on things. And I don't want to tell them that, actually, guys, it's because you're trying to influence the world. If you want to, if you don't want to influence the world and you just want to like shitpost on the internet and have your own little group thing, and you don't want like political influence, okay, you do all the Nazi salutes you want. But if you want other people outside of your echo chamber to give a shit about what you're doing, you've got to drop the Nazi salutes. It's just bad optics. And
they don't understand that the reason SJWs are popular is because they slowly ease their way into shit.
Yeah, look how the SJWs present themselves. They're always so clean cut, so well spoken. They go out of their way to be as mainstream and corporate as possible, deliberately. And then they push effectively the same thing that the white nationalists are pushing, but just from the opposite direction. It's sort of anti-white nationalism. So it's you've got to understand that branding and like presentation matters when you're doing this.
And it's not only that. Like, if you look at their history, right? First, they started going like, well, gay people should have the same rights, and most people, including myself, are like, yeah, absolutely, sure. Gay people should. And then it's like, gay people should be married, and I'm like, yeah, well, really, yeah, fine if that's an issue, right? And then they're going like, well, transgender people are not important. Transgender people need to have their own bathrooms, and like, really? And then they start pushing further. It's like pedophilia now, and it's like they slowly ease their way into it. That's what I'm saying. They gain ground step by step in order to reach the part where we are. They didn't start off by going like, oh, we defend pedophiles and whatnot, because then everyone would have been like, oh, SJWs, these are the pedophile defenders.
Yeah.
And the alt-right didn't get that. They're right now, trying to go with the Nazi salute and stuff like that.
Yeah, and this sort of thing happened to Sky Williams recently. He's a YouTuber with 900,000 subscribers, where he was just like, look, I really don't agree with Black Lives Matter. I think what they're doing is terrible. And suddenly they were like, well, you're not black. And he's like, no, I am black. I mean, he is obviously black. But they were just on the attack, and he had to put out a follow-up video, 20-minute video, just explaining, look, you guys are awful. And he was bang on every point on that video. He was just completely right. And it left him just feeling, I don't know what's going on. I just don't know what's going on. It's like, Yeah, dude, these people are nuts, basically. You're either with them or you're against them, and there's no other way about it.
You know, I managed to sum up progressivism into lines. It's like they want you to feel ashamed of what you were proud of, and they want you to be proud of what you used to be ashamed of.
Yeah. Right, I'm just gonna let's I'm just gonna grab up some info about this professor. Hang on.
You're digging dirt on the guy.
Well, actually, I was trying to be fair to the guy, but I mean, I probably could dig some dirt on the guy.
You know, it's really interesting. If this was because someone said, "Oh, they're going to use this tactic against our people," if I would say something, yeah, but if I would say no, they don't. They don't even let you explain what you meant.
It's worse. You know, it's far more extreme. You know, but this is the point. They don't even get to that. But right, okay. So this chap sent me a thing. I had this guy as a professor. I actually liked him despite his clear leftist and communist beliefs. It's always important to understand that the opposing view, and he was actually good at explaining it. He actually didn't preach and shove propaganda down your throats as some professors have tried to. I've had tried to. He was an academic advisor to Drexel's Political Science Honors Society chapter as well. This was his first 2 years at Drexel, though. I think he's trolling, but half believes it, because he does believe in communist revolutionary ideology. I don't think trolling mixes with academia, and Drexel needs to part ways with him. If I made a tweet like this as a wrestler, I would be kicked off the team. So this chap is actually concerned with exactly what we're concerned with, the lack of consistency with the standards being applied. As he says, if he had tweeted that as a wrestler, he'd be kicked off the team. If this guy tweets it, oh, he's just joking, it's just a joke, it was just a meme, you know, it's just a meme. No, I'm sorry, that's not good enough, is it? You know, and
he's humanizing the genocidal maniac.
No. Look, the guy obviously thinks he's trolling. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But that's not good enough. It doesn't matter, you know. And if that's good enough, then everything else the alt-right have done is good enough. Because everything they do is trolling to a certain
The thing is, if he's trolling, then you know I wouldn't mind that much. Honestly, I'm not that butthurt. I do think people should.
I don't care about him trolling. This is why I'm not like this guy needs to be fired.
Yeah, you know? But the thing is, I wonder if he is trolling, because I did read a lot of academia papers where they actually advocate for killing white people. Right? Yeah. This is not something that I see the first time.
Yeah,
and there are people who, and journalists and bloggers who actually go out of their way to explain how serious they are about killing white people. And we even have like Black Hitler going on his channel over and over again, like he wants to kill white people. He wants to kill white people. That's really what he does. And he's not lying. He wants to gas white people. It's like, okay, why aren't the rules applied to these people as well?
Yeah. Thomas Kelly's just asked, Drexel is a private university and I want your petition to succeed. What pressure can we bring? Numbers. That's all we can do, really, as far as I can tell. This is the thing. If their numbers, I would like a huge amount more than their numbers, because that's
there is one more thing you can do, actually. If you're at Drexel University,
you personally can complain. Yeah.
You personally can complain, or if you want to be mischievous and a dick about it, you can have some flyers or graffiti and, you know, go during the night when no one sees you and post a flyer there, you know, raise awareness on this shit.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I'd do it during the day. If I was unafraid, I would do it during the day, but I don't know, you might be worried about, you know,
you might be worried that the university teacher might see you and, you know, they might. But
even then, if you're at Drexel University, I strongly recommend that you put in a complaint and say, look, there's a petition with 10,000 signatures on, to have this publicized and explained to people. I mean, at the end of the day, this is if he is a decent guy, like the Kevin Matthias here says, and I've got no reason to think that he's lying. I've got no reason to think that Kevin isn't being honest. Then there should be no problem. Then there should be no problem. He'll just go on. He will explain his position. He will answer the questions. The public will see them and go, well, there we go. See, it's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with this guy. Everything's all right. And then things will go back to normal. The only problem, and I think that this is what the SJWs are objecting to, is that everyone knows that he's not going to be like that. He's going to start going on about his ideological communist SJW crap, and the public is going to recoil in horror when he says that white people aren't a race and they don't deserve rights and whatever it is he goes on about. You know, he's going to go on about stuff that is just abominable, and everyone knows it, which is why they don't want his views broadcast. You know, any other activist group would be like, yes, give us the mainstream media, give us a platform from which to spread our ideas. And the SJWs are the only ones that don't, and they don't because they know their ideas are horrible. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, if you're at the university and they start calling you Nazi or whatnot, because that's what they're going to do, right? If they
just record it. Just record it.
Yeah, and you can also use their own tactics against them. So they react to emotional blackmail. So go like, well, why do you want to kill my mother? You know, like, why genocide? My mom was white. Why do you want to murder her? Why do you want to kill white babies? You know, go with that kind, because they won't know how to respond to that shit. And if they do respond to that shit, you can record it. It's like, well, yeah, we want to kill white babies. Well, there you go. You know, I mean, what exactly are they going to say to that? It's like, well, you're a fascist because you don't want white babies to be killed.
Yeah, that's a good point. That guy T is asking, have you noticed that people are more concerned with his white genocide tweet more than his communist beliefs? And someone's like, are you saying they're both connected? To which T says, probably. I agree, they probably are connected. I'm sure they're going to be connected, in fact. And yeah, people are a lot more concerned with the white genocide tweet because out of context, it sounds like a threat or a call to action.
The thing is, you can find people who are positive to communism, right? But it's very hard to find people who are positive to genocide. Like, from what I notice, is like even the people who are positive to communism, they will say that, yeah, everywhere communism has been instated, literally everywhere, they didn't instate it properly. When we instate it, it's going to be the best shit ever. And, you know, I understand they're moronic, but at least I understand their argument. Like they don't want to kill people. They just think communism was never done properly, right? But when you're talking about someone who's supporting genocide, well, that's something that most people won't get behind.
Yeah, I've got to say though, T, I'm personally very concerned about communists as well. But that's because I'm a liberal and I don't want everyone to be don't want people to be shot for dissenting. I'm just old-fashioned that way.
You know, you'd be first in line to get shot if.
Dude, I know.
If communism or white nationalism becomes a thing.
Yeah, I know. Any kind of totalitarianism takes over, I'm the first on the firing squads.
Even a theocracy, if it takes over,
yeah. I'll have to flee to like I don't know, Venezuela or something, somewhere where communism has collapsed.
You know what was the funniest thing ever? Is that you would probably be able to flee to Russia.
Oh, without a doubt.
You would be safe in Russia.
I tell you what, I would get a selfie with Putin.
you would be safe next to Putin, rather than in your country if your totalitarian regime kicks off.
Yeah, but doesn't that piss people off that Edward Snowden? Who's he been protected by? Putin. What Vladimir ex-KGB murders journalists with polonium? Putin is protecting Edward Snowden. I mean, that's how bad the United States is with whistleblowers. It really pisses me off. Bradley Manning is in prison. Julian Assange is trapped in an embassy and has been for 5 years. And Edward Snowden is in exile. And all these people did was show us what the establishment is doing.
Well,
the idea that these people are enemies is crazy to me.
It's interesting to see if Trump is going to pardon.
If he was smart, he wouldn't. He wouldn't persecute them. He would pardon them and just let them all back. I mean, that's amazing PR for Trump. And what does he lose? What's he ever been fucking dobbed in on? He didn't do any of this.
Oh no, but now he might want to get control of the NSA for himself, and pardoning whistleblowers that go against the NSA might not.
Yeah. So yeah, are there any other questions? Because I can't think of any particular objections.
Someone said that you can identify as black and social justice warriors won't kill you. They're so misguided. They actually think SJWs give a shit about black people.
Yeah. Remember that these are just social constructs and nobody cares, so they'll just genocide you anyway.
Yeah, it's not only that. Like when they say black people, they actually think about the.
Okay, hang on. I've got it. So someone like 2016, the year Sargon became an SJW. It's like no. They are the SJWs. We need to hold them to their standards, because if we don't, then that means their standards only apply to us. Do you fucking understand it? We have to make them swallow their own medicine. They
it's not only that. Why not?
They said that these are the rules of the game, and now they're saying, well, we're not going to play by the rules of the game. You're going to play by them. It's like, no, everyone has to play by them, and when they do, they will realize that they don't like the fucking rules, and that's how we get them changed. There's no other way to do it. We have to make them play by their own rules. That's the only answer, guys.
We're not asking this guy to be fired. We're not sending mass emails to his boss to fire him. We're not in the university, screaming and shouting at the guy, because that's what SJWs would do. We actually want him to speak out. I am really interested in how exactly that does he make white genocide be an okay thing? Under what circumstance is killing white people justified?
How is it just a joke? I want to know why this is such a joke. I mean, and would you be offended if someone tweeted out black genocide? Would that be a joke?
To be fair, if the guy goes on, and I don't know about you, Sargon, but if the guy goes on and says, you know what, I just wanted to trigger white nationalists, I wanted to have a fun, I didn't realize it's going to be that serious, I wouldn't mind. I'd be like, well, okay, he had the joke. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But I want to hear him say it. I want it to come out of his own mouth. I want to hear if he believes white genocide is a joke.
Yep. So someone else asked something, and I've just lost it because the chat moves too quickly.
You think he takes money from white people, huh? Like people in his class that are white. Do you think, huh?
Of course he does.
Is the dollar of a white person the same like the dollar of a black person?
It is to him. He's a communist.
Right. Probably the black person works more for that dollar. It's worth more.
So, someone says, but their standards do only apply to us, Sargon. We're white. We're the enemy. They can do what the fuck they want. That's how communism works, lol. Bourgeoisie must abide the proletariat rules. Well, the bourgeoisie is shot, but forget the communism bit. That's the point. Their standards only apply to us. They don't apply to themselves. We have to make them apply to themselves. There's no other. I mean, if we don't, we're missing a golden opportunity. That's the problem.
The standards would apply to themselves.
If we don't try to make them do something, even if it's just by asking them via a petition, then it's us saying, no, well, it's okay. You have your rule for you. We'll have a rule for us, and you get to choose the rules for us and you. That we can't just allow that to stand. That's silly. It'd be ridiculous. And it means if people are okay with that standing, then you don't want change. You're happy with the status quo. And damn, is anyone happy with the status quo? I'm fucking not.
If the rules would apply to them, they wouldn't be able to be social justice warriors.
Exactly.
If they would actually have to be tolerant, if they would actually have to consider, equality and all of that, then they wouldn't be able to hate on white people.
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly my point. I don't want these people to think that, I can just post racist stuff against white people all day and that to not have an effect. I mean, we've got rules against posting racist shit like that. And I'm not necessarily in agreement with these rules, but if we already have the rules, the only way to get everyone to agree to change them is if they understand why these rules are bad as well, which is why these rules have to be applied to them.
I mean, imagine if the rules that the SJWs have are not necessarily bad. I mean, for instance, don't be racist, right? But they misinterpret the rule. You can't be racist. They can.
Yeah, and that's not fair. Why should we stand for this? Yeah. So someone's just tweeted me his book on Amazon, which I haven't read, obviously. Hardcover copy, $84. Jesus, it must be good. Anti-colonial theorists and revolutionaries have long turned to dialectical thought as a central weapon in their fight against oppressive structures and conditions. He means communism. They've long turned to communism.
Yeah.
This relationship was never easy, however, due to all the firing squads. No, sorry. As anti-colonial thinkers have resisted historical determinism, teleology. I don't even know what teleology is. What is that? Let me quickly check what teleology is. The explanation of phenomena by the purpose they serve rather than by postulated causes. That's very interesting. It's kind of right. Okay, that's very interesting. Eurocentrism and singular emphasis that some Marxisms place on class identity at the expense of race, nation, and popular identity. See, this is my point. This is the cultural Marxism thing.
Yeah, he is cultural Marxist. Like he ignores class in favor of race. It's like, look, if you're a black person like Obama, you are going to have a better life than a white person who's working, in the sewer or whatnot.
Obviously. I mean, it's just obvious.
I mean, when you have a lot of cash, right? Even if people would be racist to you, and you're in a society where people are hostile to you, you can still hire a private security force.
Yeah,
because you have the cash.
I hope any of the actual Marxists watching this are paying attention, because I'm so tired of Marxists going, "Oh, God, I wish you'd stop calling these people Marxists. They're not even concerned with economics." It's like, I know, dude. I know they're not concerned with economics. I mean, they will literally say it in the fucking description of their book. Some Marxists place emphasis on class rather than race or nation and whatever. It's like, yeah, they do. That is Marxism, and these people are misappropriating it and applying it to social phenomena. That's what they do.
That's why it's called cultural Marxism. Cultural Marxism is actually very critical to communism. It's two different things, right?
Yeah, absolutely, because communism only sees class.
Yeah, communism sees class. They don't care if you're a black worker. They don't care if you're a white bourgeois.
It makes no difference at all.
They kill all the bourgeois, and if the bourgeois has black people, transgender or whatnot, they kill them as well. It doesn't matter. They're bourgeois. If you're in the middle class, right? If you're not middle class. If you're in the proletariat, you're the working class. They spare you.
Yeah, I mean, when you say spare, you mean you get sent to a shitty factory that you don't have a choice to work at. But yeah, you get quote unquote spared. But the point is, both of these things are highly antithetical to the Western liberal concept of freedom, which is what I'm interested in preserving.
And they care about economy. They do care about economy. For instance, they would want a control economy where they decide which products are allowed and which one aren't. So, for instance, in video games, they will want all video games to be catering to everybody, right? A single product that caters to all. Comic books, a comic book that caters to everybody, right? They don't want individual markets. They don't want comic books that are for teenagers, comic books that are for adults. No, a single comic book that no one gets offended and everyone is represented. Well, at least everyone besides white people, of course. Yeah. That's what I want to say. So they do care about economy as well, but not in the sense that communists care about it.
Yeah. But and these people are just obsessed with fucking identity, though. That's the problem I have. I don't care about other people's identities. I just don't care. It's just not my problem.
Oh man, they even have like an oppression scale. I mean, people are joking about it, but they actually do, right? And it's funny that once they if you watch a forum where these people co-opted, like Atheism Plus or whatnot, once they finally throw out all the white guys and all the undesirable, then they turn out on themselves, and it's like, oh well, I'm a gay Jew. I'm more oppressed than you, and they start making up shit like that, where they spread up into more and more groups. Like the only the result of communism is the quote unquote communist utopia, right? Is the USSR. Like after the communist revolution does come something. Cultural Marxism just creates smaller groups that are arguing with each other. It never ends. It just creates more and more conflict.
Yeah, it creates apartheid. It creates people not. I mean, it does in universities at the moment. Like, hang on, I'll just get the links up.
What, the social justice warrior Jews fighting the Palestinian social justice warriors? That's a fake.
No. Stuff like this. Public university hosts black-only retreat for students. And then they also offered. Come on, stop being slow.
Yeah, and
they also offered the white-only one. The white one was teaching them to be ashamed of their whiteness, and the black one was teaching them being proud of their blackness. It's like, for fuck's sake. Someone asked on Twitter, what if he comes up with an argument that actually justifies white genocide? I said, well, there is none. He can't. Oh, really? The college.
I would be interested in it. I would really love to hear it. If he comes up, I would be like, whoa, good argument. Wow, bravo! I need to kill myself now. Honestly,
I can only tell you why he won't have a legitimate argument. Because I've heard it a million times over. He'll say, well, in the past, white people did terrible things. Yes, all those white people are dead now, but now I want you to be guilty of what they did. It's the sins of the father. They don't wash off onto the son. I'm sorry. If you personally didn't commit a crime, you're not guilty of a crime, regardless of your connection to the people who committed a crime. So fuck off. Any argument he makes is going to be a fucking stupid one. And he's going, oh, well, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But it'll be wrong. And everyone will see it. Everyone will be like, no, no, no. We're not responsible for things that happened before we were born, you fucking moron.
Yeah. Honestly, them and the white nationalists believe in the sins of the father a lot.
Yeah, they do.
Or the accomplishments of the father as well. Another thing which pisses me off. It's like, look, I'm an individual, right? I'm responsible for my own accomplishments, and I'm responsible for my own sins. I don't want to have someone else's accomplishments being put on me because I didn't work for them, and I don't want my own sins to be someone else's sins being placed on me because it's not my sins.
Yep, that's it's literally what it is. And so, yeah, it's just horseshit. Frankly.
What do you think about the accomplishments of the father being pushed on you?
Honestly, I find it to be oppressive.
Really, the accomplishments?
Yeah. Because think about it, right? Whenever you see like a great man, I always feel bad for the kid because the kid always has to, like the son, always has to be raised in the shadow of the accomplishments of their father. They can never get away from it. And so, like, when I think it's the worst thing that can happen, like when a great musician or a great actor, their children try to go into music or acting because it's like they're never going to be as great. They're never going to be as great.
Well, maybe it's the fact that the dad can guarantee that he gets a job because he can pull the strings and there's some nepotism in that. You know, and maybe the dad can also help him out a bit. So it's not that they're not going to be as great.
That's the point, though, isn't it? That's exactly my point. That doesn't help the person. Believe it or not, you know, the struggle to get to the top is character forming. The journey changes you along the way, and it makes you better. And if you're allowed to skip over certain segments of that journey, then your character doesn't improve, and you personally don't get better. You just get further, and so you end up becoming a bit of a fraud when you get to the final destination. You know.
I see what you mean. But my question wasn't like I direct as like the father, you know, literally. I'm talking about like, okay, you're a white guy, so basically you should be praised because another white guy invented electricity. You know, how would you feel about that?
Yeah, exactly. It's silly, but yeah, I don't like the whole thing. It's just
or for instance, you're a British person, so you should be proud of the accomplishment of the British Empire.
Yeah, I mean, you know, ironically, yes, but never in a serious manner where you actually sit there and go, yes, well, this is something that I've done. Obviously, it's not. It's fucking stupid. I just want to quickly share this. Thanks, 50 Splinters, for the 500,000 sub shout out. Apparently, I've just passed it.
Oh, congratulations. Do you get another YouTube play button, or is it that million?
I don't know. I have no idea. But look at that picture.
Just check.
Look at that picture. Are you not looking at that picture?
I'm looking at your picture. What do you think Christy Winters has to say about white genocide?
Oh, well, she's obviously pro, isn't she?
Well, let's not put words in her mouth. You should ask her on Twitter.
It's obviously a joke. I mean, how could anyone think that this was anything other than a joke? Hashtag.
I'm not going to ask on your channel, but I will ask on my Twitter for my followers to ask Christy Winters because I'm curious. As an academician from another, what does she think about this?
Why don't you just tweet at her?
I will tweet at her. I'm really curious. What does she think about white genocide as a white woman herself?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I mean, she's going to be like, white genocide isn't real.
Well, I know she was concerned about tight Asian pussy, so I'm really curious what she thinks about this guy wanting to kill Christy Winters. Well, she's white.
Wow. She'll just like, well, he was just joking, blah, 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 blah.
I want to know. If she says she's just joking, I will be fine with that response. If she's just joking, then, well,
Did you see, a demotivator? That guy.
Who's that guy?
Tim. I'll show you a tweet that he tweeted out. It was really fucking funny. This is why I talk to these people on Twitter. People are like, why do you waste your time? I say, no, sometimes it's really funny. Look, right. So Carlos here says, would it be also taking the piss if he had said Arab genocide? And Michael Rowland, sorry, not Tim, Michael, said no, because that shit actually happens. I was like, there's an Arab genocide now? And he's like, well, there's racism towards Arabs. Kind of what I was getting at.
You know, okay.
Hang on. Are you saying racism is not the same as genocide, Michael? You fucking...
Well, actually, there is an Arab genocide going right now. ISIS are killing the Sunni population in Iraq and Syria. But if someone would tweet out seriously, it's we need to get the Muslim genocide going. I would definitely
hang on.
I would definitely
That is not an Arab genocide.
Okay, but yeah, I would definitely take issue with that. If someone would say we need to,
ISIS killing people is not an Arab genocide. V, do you understand?
If they're killing Arabs in Syria
They're
and
not
Iraq,
killing Arabs to exterminate the Arabs.
they are killing them to exterminate the Sunnis.
Yes,
and the
but
Sunnis
that's not an Arab genocide.
Yeah, it's a Sunni genocide. Okay, my bad. Right. They're also genociding.
It's not even going to be a Sunni genocide. I mean, ISIS are Sunni themselves, so this is not even going to be a Sunni genocide. What you're talking about is political and religious sectarian violence. I mean, you could consider it a form of ethnic cleansing, I suppose.
Okay.
I just want to be, I know I'm being autistically pedantic on this point, but specificity matters. This is honestly, it really does. But anyway,
you are being autistically pedantic on this point.
Yes, but I'm right. So that's
but to be fair, if this guy would have tweeted out, we need to have a Muslim genocide, what would you say to that? Would you still have the petition and all of that?
I would want to know why he said that. Yeah. I don't think we should. Something a genocide denier. No, dude. The Armenian genocide definitely happened. Autistic genocide. Ask TYT about genocide. Someone actually did. Someone actually did. It was amazing.
Oh my god, that was amazing. They immediately said, "Cut to commercials. Cut to commercials."
I'm gonna feature it this year in Stupid. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, that.
Anyway, that hero aside,
someone called just Sargon Justice for you.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is the thing as well, right? So this is another thing. Yeah, I don't particularly like having to hold them to their own standards. I really don't like that. It's annoying. I would rather they hold themselves to their own standards, but there's no chance of them holding themselves to their own standards. So we have to do it. This year in Stupid will be about an hour long, probably. And so we have to do it. I mean, yeah, these aren't my rules. And if you want to set the rules, if you want me to like tell you what rules I'd make, then they wouldn't be the same as the rules we have. So that's something to discuss if they ever go, yeah, you know what, we need to change these rules. I'm happy to talk about how they can be changed. But at the moment, sorry, no, the rules are you can't just be a fucking racist on Twitter, apparently. So no, you know, if this was anyone else tweeting about any other kind of genocide, this person would be in some serious shit. So this person also needs to be in some serious shit. I'm sorry, it's just consistency.
Someone keeps asking me what I think about the Gypsy genocide. What the fuck? Why do you spam me with this? Of course, I think it's a horrible idea. Any type of genocide needs to be horrible. And if you're one of the people who think, yeah, it's a good idea to genocide blah, then would you do it? Would you take a gun and go to one of the blah's people and kill babies and whatnot? I mean, I'm really curious. You know, can you look a guy in the face and shoot him because he is part of a different group or, you know, different nationality or whatnot?
Yeah. But yeah. So your problem with the Gypsy genocide is that people keep calling it a genocide, right? You'd rather deny it and allow it to carry on.
No, I think he's talking about the Nazis who did Gypsy genocide in Romania.
Yeah. It just gets wrapped up in the Holocaust now, doesn't it?
Yeah, the people. Well, yeah, then they're not Jews, so they're gypsies. So who cares?
Yeah. Yes, but yeah. So, I mean, any other questions? I'm sure that there will be questions on the video that I didn't answer in advance. So I'd rather answer them now. I'll tell you, I'm going to go grab another cup of tea.
How much money would you pay to this professor so he can come on a stream with you?
As much as I could raise.
Really?
Oh, dude, I'd crowdfund it. Yeah. He would never do it. He would never do it, of course. But I would definitely crowdfund it to get him on a stream to ask him about why he was pro firing squad.
This is what I don't understand. I mean, if you have an ideology and you're a professor and you've written books, you think they would be able to defend that shit.
Yeah. You want to defend that shit.
Yeah, you think they want to defend that shit. I mean, you can have white nationalists coming on and defending their shit. You can have religious people coming on and defending their shit. You can have capitalists, like any single ideology out there, even Scientologists, you can have coming on and defending that shit. But when it comes to cultural Marxists, all of a sudden silence and crickets.
Yeah, basically. So is it just me, or I mean, someone's posting in the chat? Look at this guy. He thinks he's Lenin. You know, he kind of does. Yeah, I can see that. You know.
I don't understand why Lenin is being preserved in Russia.
No, me either. I don't understand why there are so many Leninists in my Twitter feed sometimes as well. It's like, the dude is responsible for millions of deaths. I mean, why doesn't that matter to people anymore? Why don't they care?
Okay, hold on. To be fair, Lenin was not such a bad guy. He got Russia out of the war.
Yeah, but he was also responsible for the deaths of 4 million people.
Yeah, but he got Russia out of the war. So the question is, how many people would have died in World War One?
Oh, God only knows, mate. But still.
And the thing is, he's not as bad as Stalin. Not even by far.
There we go, Lenin. Not as bad as Stalin. We'll get that carved on your fucking tomb. We'll get a little plaque on the preservation thing you're in. Not as bad as Stalin. What a fucking achievement. Stalin would be like, well, I'd like a not as bad as Mao one, if that's okay.
Well, no, I actually think Stalin was worse than Mao.
No, I think Mao killed more.
It's not about just who killed. It's also the environment that he creates. It's like, if you would rather live under Mao or you'd rather live under Stalin.
Wow, that's an interesting question, isn't it? Who would I rather live under?
Mao was the best. People say.
I don't know. I think anyone that I can escape from easily would be my answer. But anyway, I'm going to go get a cup of tea. Yeah, guys, tweet at me if you want any questions answered. And seriously, I do genuinely want to answer people's questions, because I understand that it's not something we would want normally, but it's something that has to happen. So honestly, if I'm not explaining something well, tell me.
You're not even applying their own rules against them, because their own rules would be to fire the guy, right? You just want to hear what the guy has to say.
Yeah, exactly. But the point is, he has to be scrutinized. That's the point. But anyway, I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, Sagan wants the finger to be wiggled at the guy. I'm going to check my Twitter and see if I have some notifications. Nope, apparently I don't. So I'm going to look at the chat. If you have a question or anything you'd like me to talk about, you can write on the chat and mention my name so that it highlights, because the chat is scrolling down quite fast. The question isn't who killed more people, if it's Stalin or Mao, because the population was different in China and compared to Russia. It's also the rules and the political climate that existed under Stalin or Mao. Yeah, it's apparently getting a Marxist professor to talk about Marxism is something really hard these days. Who was the best Soviet leader? Again, I have to say Lenin. I do think people were less oppressed under Lenin than any other communist. Someone asked me what makes me think that they will not change the rules with him. If they change the rules and they say, well, now you can tweet white genocide is okay, what's going to stop people from tweeting that Jewish genocide should be a thing? Well, what would stop people from saying that white Jews should be killed and whatnot? Another good question: does you think that white Jews should be genocided as well? Because see, when you say the word Jew, it triggers people a lot more than white. I mean, saying anything bad about whites is okay. But when you say something bad about white gays, white trans, white Jews, then all of a sudden people are starting to twitch. Someone asked me if I ever think communism can be realized, and the answer is no, because it's against human nature. Communism means that everyone is equal. So, but the problem is that some human will always want some more. Communism is more like the philosophy of the ant people. It really can't work, simply because it even feels oppressive in a way to be exactly the same like everyone else. Like when we were in communist Romania, I would go to visit a friend's house, and it looked exactly the same as mine. I mean, it was the same furniture. They were wearing the same clothes. The only difference was that the furniture had different arrangement than the one in my house. And that's pretty much how it was under communism. Everyone had the same shit. Everyone had the same car. Everyone had the same house. Everyone had the same clothes. There was one brand of shampoo. There was one brand of soap. There was one brand of everything. And people were almost like identical copies of each other. It was horrible. You know, this is not the way humankind is meant to live under. And not only that, but if you think about scientific encouragement, right? If you would invent something under communism, it wasn't your invention, it was the people's invention, which kind of disincentivizes people from trying to invent something new. I mean, what's the point in trying to invent something if it's not going to be your invention? While under capitalism, a person like Bill Gates, who invents Microsoft, he's going to be extremely rewarded for that. He's going to be applauded for what he did. While under communism, if Bill Gates was in Russia and he would have invented Microsoft, you wouldn't even hear his name. It would be, you know, it's the Soviet realization of inventing it.
Okay, so someone's asked a question. Hang on. Stab in the dark here. Would you say there is some correlation with social justice, cultural Marxist ideology, and criminality? Right, that's an interesting question. It depends what kind of criminality you're talking about. I mean, when it comes to, say, calling in false reports of, you know, hate crimes and stuff like that, we've got hundreds documented, hundreds of examples of SJWs and, you know, Black Lives Matter supporters and whatnot. Like the recent one the Young Turks reported on, saying, "Oh, look at this, a black church has been burnt down, and someone wrote 'Vote Trump' on the wall. Must have been a white supremacist." Turns out it was a black member of the congregation. And obviously the Young Turks didn't issue any kind of update or correction or anything like that. So, I mean, this does happen, and a lot of it is ideologically driven. But, I mean, to say criminality kind of, it makes it sound like it's, you know, something a bit bigger than it is, because this is just like false flags. But, I mean, they are crimes, so yes. To a degree.
I have a question from the chat for you.
Sure.
How do you think capitalism is going to fix the loss of jobs from automaton machines?
I don't know. I don't think inherently there is anything about it that is. It's worrying. I mean, I would not be surprised if universal basic income became a standard thing.
I actually know the answer to this. I will answer it with another question. It's like, how do you think communism is going to fix the economy with the fact that everyone is to have a job, and you need to give a job to people that and pay them for not doing anything? And this was a thing in Romania. You would have people who are working in factories and literally had nothing to do all day, and they were getting a wage. They were just sitting there watching, not having anything to do, because the factory didn't need them, but they had to be hired just so they can have a job. And I think this is worse. This actually collapses the economy. This is why the communist system fell. While in capitalism, while indeed people do lose their jobs because of automation and robots replacing certain things, the economy can still maintain. You can still have enough people employed.
Yeah. Okay, so Fox from the West, who repeatedly asks me silly questions, has asked a silly question. Why are you trying to do the university's job for them? I don't think asking to see them doing their job is doing their job for them.
Yeah.
And then he says, don't they have the right to privacy in staff meetings? Well, of course they do, which is why I'm not petitioning the government. I'm asking the university to do us a favor, because there is a much larger context of to what's going on here. This isn't just one guy doing this one time that got white genocide trending on Twitter. And I'm not kidding. His tweet got white genocide trending on Twitter. So, yeah, of course they have right to privacy in staff meetings, you muppet. but we're asking them, look, be transparent, because there's something bigger going on here. And him explaining it well could help diffuse the situation. Of course, him explaining it badly could red pill a lot of people as to why these people are such assholes. But, you know, there we go.
It's really funny that people are against freedom of speech now. It's like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, don't ask nasty things like explain yourself. How dare you?
Asking a Marxist professor to talk about Marxism is something you just don't do now.
Yeah, you'd think that they wouldn't be able to stop themselves. I mean, they can't normally, but as soon as someone starts listening, they're like, well, hang on, calm down. We don't want to talk to you.
I wonder, like, even if you ask Gazi Kodo, he would probably start talking about the white genocide and whatnot. This is actually funny.
He'd talk about the black genocide. He believes in the black genocide.
Yeah, but he wants white people to die.
Yeah, of course he does. He wants a white genocide, duh. But he thinks there is currently a black genocide going on right now. So
yeah, but he will talk about that. That's the funny thing. Like, most people who are genuine about their shit aren't afraid to talk about the shit they believe in.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So there's someone's just tweeted me this breaking Drexel professor issues statement on white genocide tweet. Let's see what he has to say. I mean, I anything to get inside Lenin's kid's head. I wonder if there's a picture of his mum with Lenin, like Trudeau with Castro. So he says, on Christmas Eve, I sent a satirical tweet about an imaginary concept, white genocide. For those who haven't bothered to do their research, I love the disapproving tone already. White genocide is an idea invented by white supremacists and used to denounce everything from interracial relationships to multicultural policies, and recently against a tweet by State Farm Insurance. Sorry, what? Okay, what's wrong with this? Oh, right, it's miscegenation, isn't it? Right, okay. Well, I don't have a problem with that, so who cares? It's a figment of the racist imagination. It should be mocked, and I'm glad to have mocked it. Okay, now this, what do you reckon to
that? Who is this saying? The professor?
Yeah, this is the professor himself.
Okay, so how exactly
people believe that they're being genocided, and you don't believe they're being genocided, you should mock that, right?
Well, I don't know how to think. I mean, if it was a joke and he was mocking it, he did a bad job in highlighting the fact that it's mocked. I mean, is he aware of the fact that not only white supremacists believe in a white genocide? There are a lot of SJWs, and I can even go to feminism.org and show that there are people who would want a white genocide to happen. Like they actually
feel free to grab some while I go through the rest of this, because I'd like to see that myself. But so if Gazi Kodzo, if I'm a university academic and I see Gazi Kodzo's video and I tweet out all I want for Christmas is a black genocide as a method of mocking Gazi Kodzo, claiming that there's a black genocide going on, is that something that I should have mocked? Because Gazi Kodzo is every bit the racist and supremacist that the 1488ers are, without a doubt. I mean, they're exactly the same, just they could approach the problem from different directions.
Hold on, I'm looking for what you asked.
So. Okay, well, I'll go through the next paragraph. He says, what I'm not glad about is that this satirical tweet became fodder for online white supremacists who systematically harass me and my employer, Drexel University, beginning with Breitbart.com, formerly the domain of special counselor to the president-elect Steve Bannon, and running through the depths of Reddit discussion boards. A coordinated smear campaign was orchestrated to send mass tweets and emails to myself, my employer, and my colleagues. I have received hundreds of death threats. Well, you haven't published any of these death threats, to my knowledge.
I don't care what he gets on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't care what you get on Twitter either. To be honest.
That's between him and the police and the guy sending the death threat. Why exactly?
Contact the authorities. You're not going to contact the authorities because probably bots.
What does he want me to cry? Well, my cock dripped a tear. Moving on.
Yeah, I'm weeping.
No, honestly, the idea, it's like, oh, wow, I got death threats. Like, what do I care? Did I send them to you? No, I don't care.
Yeah. See, and this is where it gets good. Drexel University issued a statement on the matter, apparently without understanding either the content or the context of the tweet. While Drexel has been nothing but supportive in the past, this statement is worrying. See, now he's tone policing the university, and all he's saying here is, it's okay when I do it. That's it. If this was someone else, say a white supremacist who tweeted, all I want is a black genocide, he'd condemn this in the most harsh terms. Even if, there's no black genocide going on, there's more black people alive now than there ever have been before. Just like with white people. It's just fucking, no one's getting genocided in this conversation, for fuck's sake. So yeah, while upholding my right to free expression, the statement refers to my satirical tweets as utterly reprehensible. Well, that's because they are. Even if you find them to be satirical, other people don't. Other people find them reprehensible. And they're letting you know this by tweeting at you because you decided where's that fucking picture of the person with their pile of shit opinions, chucking them over a wall, and then people chucking their shit opinions back and going, misogyny. This is just like, no, look, this is what you get, okay? This is fucking what you get for fucking doing this. Don't expect to put your shit out in public and then think, oh, well, I don't deserve to be called on my shit. So,
so I found there's the hashtag kill all white men, and then there's the diversity officer who said kill white men.
Mustafa. Yeah. Now I just want to point this out.
As an ethnic minority woman.
So I can prove it. So when this happened, I did a video called
there we go.
With Bahar Mustafa, because I am in favor of Bahar Mustafa not being arrested for her tweets, and I agree. I don't want her to be, right? And that's what reason we're arguing for here as well. The diversity officer who tweeted "kill all white men deserves ridicule, not arrest," and that is incidentally what Drexel professor was getting. But yeah, I'm totally agreeing. I don't want him arrested for this. I just want him to explain himself so people can ridicule him. Duh.
I found another one. Blackborough Baptist Church. We're going to kill all white people, babies included, and there's a video of it. I've posted it into the. Yeah. So my point is to the professor. There are actual people who do want to kill whites. This is a legitimate thing, right? So how exactly were we supposed to differentiate in your tweet if you're one of the people who want to kill whites, who want to genocide the white race, to the people that apparently you're just joking and it's like you're mocking the white supremacists?
Maybe he was mocking these people. Maybe he was mocking these innocent people of color who didn't do nothing. Who knows?
And that woman with big tits is like, kill all the white babies, coffin, bitch, coffin, yeah. Kill them all.
And this is the point, isn't it? This guy's tweet is not in a vacuum. The reason he's getting this kind of backlash is because of all of this shit that's going on by people who are not using this satirically. And this is why, for example, Bahar Mustafa ends up getting arrested for tweeting out hashtag kill all white men. You made the rules that you couldn't do this satirically, and now you're trying to do it satirically. People are like, oh no, you're being arrested. Well, I'm being unfairly victimized by the rules that I argued for. And it's like, well, sorry.
Look, wish for white genocide. Look how many tweets I got. Look at this, right? Again in the chat. So, I wish white genocide was a real thing. Shino haha. I wish white genocide was a real thing by Chili Gula. Seeing shit like this make me wish white genocide was real rather than a meme. A man in hatred posted. Shit like this makes me wish there was actually a white genocide happening. I mean, look how many people actually want. I wish white genocide was real so your ignorant ass would get swallowed up in it. It's like there is no white genocide, but it wouldn't matter if it was. Jessica.
Hammer and sickle there, James Hammer and Sickle Moore. Wonder what your political affiliation is. But this is the thing. If this is acceptable, then don't complain about what the actual racists do. If you are going to sit there and go, well, this is what we want to be an acceptable form of speech, because we're just joking, it's just a meme, guys. Then it's just a meme when the alt-right say black genocide or whatever it is they say. I don't even think they do say that. I haven't seen any of them say that. But assuming that they were saying that,
if he was joking, the death threats that he got were also jokes.
Exactly. It's all just a meme, so shut up. But
This is something that I don't understand. Actually, it really pisses me off. It's like, okay, so he can say, "I want to kill all white people" because it's a joke, but when white people tweet back to him, "I want to kill you," oh, harassment. It's like this is their textbook 101. This is how SJWs operate. They tweet something really inflammatory to a general public. It's like, we want to kill white people. And if you're a white person, you go like, what? Why does he want to kill me? Oh, I'm going to tell the son of a bitch a piece of my mind. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're a racist because you replied to him. And so just I'm so fed up with this bullshit. They did it in Gamergate as well, if you remember. It's like, all men are rapists. All men are rapists. And you're like, hold on, I'm not a rapist. Well, why does he think that? Then you tweet back at them and they're like, oh, harassment, you're harassing me.
Yeah. Yeah. Right, so he says that, the tweets are utterly reprehensible. What is most unfortunate is that this statement amounts to a caving to the truly reprehensible movements and organizations that I was critiquing. Listen, you twat, you are part of a truly reprehensible movement.
Communism.
Yes, you are a racist, anti-white communist. I mean, I don't know how to explain that is reprehensible in the same way that if you were a racist, anti-black fascist, I would put you on a moral equivalency. You are exactly the same. There is no difference between good and bad here. That you are just both bad. For fuck's sake. Why do I even have to explain this? Why is this something that like people are just like, well, I mean, he's not a white supremacist. No, he's a fucking black supremacist. Who cares? He hates white people.
He judges people based on arbitrary characteristics.
Exactly. It's
Drexel University, composition, sand, gravel, concrete, and communism.
Drexel University, surprisingly pro-proletariat.
It's cultural Marxism.
That's what I loved about the comments, where the guy's like, I hate those working class people on their farms and trailer parks. Yeah, that's really in favor of the proletariat.
Well, it's cultural Marxism. It's not even communism. Like, I have more respect for a communist than a cultural Marxist, honestly.
Yeah, for someone who's actually consistent. At least they wouldn't be hating on trailer park people, These poor people are at the very bottom of society. At least they're not contemptuously.
Yeah, I mean, communism has a more internal, consistent ideology than this shit. The problem with this shit is like, let's take affirmative action, right? And you go like, well, black people should get scholarship because black people are poor. And then you find out that you can get a rich black person benefiting from that scholarship while a poor black person does. How the fuck is this fair? Even it does not have any sort of internal consistency whatsoever. And that's why I have more respect for communism than for this shit. And I have no respect for communism to begin with.
Yeah. So Fox from the West, before I continue with this, Fox from the West says, I think this problem stems beyond actual racism. I think it's general stupidity in the realm of politics. Thoughts? I think just calling it general stupidity is and it's the idea, it is the Marxist dialectic of oppressor and oppressed. And the constant refrain that you hear from them that it's okay to hate your oppressor. And that's something they say constantly. And they say it like a mantra. It's okay to hate the people who are oppressing you. And if you then decide that everyone is oppressing you, it's okay to hate everyone, or at least, a huge segment of the population. And that's where this all comes from. This idea that they can't be hateful to someone who they think is oppressing them, and therefore that justifies them being as hateful as they want.
If they would apply individual thought and would be like X, Y, and Z are oppressing me and they hate X, Y, and Z, it's fine. But they do like X, Y, and Z is oppressing me. X, Y, and Z are member of group A, and it's okay for me to hate everyone in group A, despite the fact that not all of those people are oppressing me.
Or even the same, or they're not a group.
Especially when they get arbitrary characteristics. It's like X, Y, and Z have blue eyes, so all the people with blue eyes are oppressing me because they have X, Y, and Z as members. It's just
exactly. Right. Okay. So, on the university level, moreover, this statement, despite a tepid defense of free speech, sends a chilling message and sets a frightening precedent. It exposes untenured and temporary faculty to not only internal disciplinary scrutiny, but equally importantly, it encourages harassment as an effective means to impact university policies.
Get the fuck out. Where was he when SJWs were harassing people?
No, not the harassment.
Yeah, no. It's like, he really cares about the harassment. I'm sure if his students would harass you for hate speech or whatnot.
You'd be like, no, this harassment is just...
Yeah, he would be the staunch defender of your channel. He would sit between his students and you and go like, no.
Yeah, no, how dare you do this, my students? You know, this is the right kind of harassment. And that's exactly the problem.
I'm actually curious if I would be at Drexel University and post swastikas on Christmas Eve in order to mock the alt-right or whatnot.
Yeah.
Do you think? Yeah. Do you think it would be just a meme, or do you think they will take issue? It's like, oh no, that's insensitive, man.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, yes, it sends a chilling message that if you're an open racist and you're a professor, you might get in trouble for it. But there's, I mean, I can't help but think that if professors started tweeting, all I want is a black genocide, like, you know, neo-Nazi professors started tweeting, all I want is a black genocide, then you'd get a hell of a lot of pushback from SJWs who'd want them fired.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be constant. They would literally be up in arms going, the Nazis have invaded our fucking campuses. It's like, okay, well, we're up in arms about the communists invading the campuses. Do you understand? It's the same fucking problem. It's just that we don't agree with you, and you agree with you fucking idiots. But yeah,
as my students will attest, my classroom is free for all of ideas. Well, if that's the case, you won't mind having the conversation.
Right, I love this. It sets a frightening precedent that exposes untenured and temporary faculty to internal disciplinary scrutiny. Well, yeah, if they do something wrong, they should be. If you tweet out something pro-genocidal, regardless of who you want genocided, I do think you should at least have some scrutiny applied to you. I mean, sure, it might be that you were scrutinized and you were joking. Okay, it's a terrible joke, and maybe you get a slap on the wrist for that, and that's fine. That would be fine. Even if all he gets is a slap on the wrist and go, look, don't tweet out that genocide, you fucking idiot. No, even if you think it's no, because we're a university, you're a professor here, people know you're a professor here, and we don't want you doing it. It lessens the credibility of our university when you do this. That's fine. But yes, you should be scrutinized if you're going to say stupid things in public, especially when you're a professor. This is what drives me crazy, right? These people are acting like they have no duty of care. But people, the public, listen to the intelligentsia. They listen to professors. They listen to academics, because these are the people who are meant to know what they're talking about. So the idea that these people think they're free to shitpost as much as they want, I'm sorry, you're actually not, because of your profession. You know, I mean, you can say, well, you do it all the time, something. Yes, I do, because I am a plebeian with a fucking internet connection. That's why.
At least make a pseudonym, you twat. Yeah, at least make an egg account or some shit if you really want to shitpost. Why the fuck would you shitpost under your name? Like, if I was a judge or a politician or maybe, you know, a university professor, I wouldn't shitpost with my name on it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, like Politico the other day. Politico fired one of their authors. Hang on, I'm just going to find it.
What did he say?
Just finding it out. Here we go. Right. Politico are probably the most respected political journalism outlet that I can think of. I mean, these are the go-to people that the Hillary Clinton campaign used as sources for their internal intelligence, right? And we know this because of the Podesta emails. Thanks very much, WikiLeaks. Fuck anyone who's a fucking idiot, right? So she gets fired over a tweet. Either Trump is fucking his daughter or shirking nepotism laws, which is worse, right? Politico, fuck off. Politico gave her this statement. Hi all, you remember the note from John and me a few days ago in which we emphasized that Politico journalists are representing the publication at all times and on all platforms and must present themselves accordingly. We also emphasized that the power of Politico comes from our independent reporting and analysis. Gratuitous opinion has no place anywhere at any time, not on your Facebook feed, your Twitter feed, or any place else. It has absolutely zero value for our readers and should have zero place in our work. Now, this is Politico's rules, and I can completely understand why they hold these rules. They are creating a reputation for themselves, and your reputation is a huge amount of your power when you come to dealing with anything public. If you have a bad reputation, I mean, like Alex Jones says a lot of things that are true, but nobody takes him seriously because he's Alex Jones. This is what Politico is talking about, and this is what universities should talk about. They should try to be credible. Well, part of being credible is making sure that you and your staff act in a particular way. And that's why Drexel have come down on this guy.
There are a few professions where I do think people need to be language police, because it's like, oh, we are acting like SJWs. Hold on. There are a few professions where it's important what people think. So these professions are, number one, university professors and teachers in general. Because if a teacher is like believing in communism and whatnot and is spreading it to the children, you would want to know that, right? Like, you don't want a professor that's indoctrinating kids. Then a judge.
You expect them to be objective because they have a duty of care to the people they're talking
to. Right. I wouldn't want them to start lying in their academic, because they, as you said, they're the intelligentsia. So they have like this extra credibility that normal people don't have. And then there's judges. You wouldn't want a judge that's racist or a judge that's hating blacks or hating whites, because obviously he's passing judgment.
Yeah.
And finally, there's journalists as well. You want a journalist to be objective, to tell you the truth of what happened, like not put a spin on it. So yeah, I do think these people should be fired if they say retarded shit.
Well, again, I'm not calling for them to be fired.
I don't know, but yeah. I'm explaining to people why I don't think it's like SJWs, because SJWs would fire an engineer, for instance. Like, no one gives a fuck if an engineer is racist or not. It doesn't affect his job. No one gives a fuck if an airplane driver, an airplane pilot is racist or not. It doesn't affect his job. But a teacher who is racist does affect their job. It's like, what if they don't teach the black kids?
Yeah. What if they're actively discriminating against whoever they're racist against? I mean, how do we know this guy isn't discriminating against conservative students in his class? There's every reason to think that he would be, because they're going to be like, well, what are you talking about? They're going to be an objection to this. But again, his teaching apparently isn't necessarily in question. His students have said he's pretty good, so I'm not impugning him on that. Well, for me, it's the principle of the thing.
You wanted to hear his explanation. What do you think about after hearing it now?
Let's finish it first.
Okay.
As students will attest, my class members are free-for-all for all ideas, in which anyone is welcome to their opinions, but expected to defend those opinions with argument. Okay, well, that's nice, because that's what I consider the internet to be. Free-for-all of all ideas, in which anyone is welcome to their opinions, but is expected to defend those opinions with argument.
He's afraid right now, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why I want him recorded when he's just, defending those opinions to his superiors in the university. I mean, it's a free-for-all, isn't it? These are your values, aren't they? This is my point. This is exactly my point.
Yeah, he threatened my mom. He said he wants my mom to be white genocide, so he threatened her.
But his idea was, all I want for Christmas is a white genocide. Okay, fine, defend it. Now defend it in public. You tweeted that out in public. You wanted people to see it. Now defend it. These are your standards, you fucking hypocrite. George Cigarillo Ma. And so anyway, right. I teach regularly on the history of genocidal practices like colonialism and slavery. Hang on. Let's not go for those. Let's go for like the genocide, the communists against the Ukrainians, or against
the intellectuals.
The Cambodian genocide against intellectuals would be a good one. Or the
white genocide taking place in Africa right now.
Yeah, that could be by various communist regimes exactly.
The Christian genocide by ISIS that takes place in Syria and Iraq.
Absolutely, and just any of those mass deaths he doesn't want to talk about, because they were all done by communists, and that's how he doesn't want to talk about that. Genocidal practices like colonialism and slavery. Well, they were quite a long time ago. We've got much more recent ones.
But let's talk about the Ottoman Empire slavery. The Islamic slave trade. Let's talk about that.
Exactly. He just wants to talk about white people doing genocides.
Well, let's talk about Britain ending slavery.
Yeah, I really have to question his quality as a history teacher if he teaches such one-sided history.
To be fair, we don't know what he teaches, right? But I have a strong feeling, I have the vibe that he's not mentioning who ended slavery. He's not mentioning that the only people doing slavery right now in the world are Muslim, one of the only. I mean, you have the Azeri slave women. And you also have, I think, in Saudi Arabia, they still use blacks as slaves until recently. I need to check the date.
Yeah, it was 1963 that Saudi Arabia outlawed slavery.
Yeah, so it was quite recently.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and he obviously doesn't bring up these to castrate their slaves, which is why there isn't a huge black population in Arabia right now.
Shush. You're breaking the narrative. Shush.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, so genocides carried out by the very same kind of violent racists who are smearing me today. Now that is incredible. That is an amazing line the very same kind. They're not the
Yeah,
same.
exactly.
They
So
are
he
not
is
the same
comparing.
kind.
Yeah, he is comparing a person who commits genocide, who shoots people, with a person who tweets out to a university professor. You know, maybe you
Maybe I
want
don't
to
like white
explain.
genocide.
Yeah, maybe you should explain what you mean by that.
Yeah, but not only that, right? Okay, we'll do this guilt by association. So the alt-right, the 1488ers, who are all like, "There's a white genocide going on," they are just like the Nazis. That's fine. Let's set that in stone. That is the benchmark we're going with. So no, let me finish. The alt-right, just so we're all clear, everyone knows the alt-right, according to Professor George Ciccariello-Maher, is a genocidal movement and of racists who are essentially slavers as well, right? And it's because they follow a similar ideology. So what does he now have to account for since he is a self-professed communist? I'm sorry, but if we're talking about the very same kind of people, then you are the very same kind of people who kill hundreds of millions of people. So
who sends
I'm
workers to clean up the Chernobyl reactor because they don't want help from the Americans to use plating, and they send workers to die.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's the least of their crimes. That's the least of it. Fucking hell, man. I mean, this guy's literally saying, yeah, I'm just like people who are against human rights. I'm just like any other genocidal communist regime you care to think of. That's what he is saying when he says the alt-right are just like the people who did colonialism and slavery. Okay, let's say they are. You're just like the communist the Red Terror, mate. That's what you are just like.
The Red Terror.
No, that's what he wants to say. It's his hyperbolic fucking statement. I am just making him being consistent on. This is my problem, right? So the violent racism will now.
Wait. When did the alt-right actually beat someone? Because I think it would be all over the news.
I was just doing it for argument's sake, obviously. I don't think they are.
No. You said violent racism. What violent racism? What violent? The only violent racism that I saw recently, was Black Lives Matter kicking a homeless guy in the spine. Black Lives Matter taking a guy that was white just because he was white in a parking lot, stripping him naked and drawing him on the concrete. I mean, this is the social justice porn you would probably have in movies if the roles were reversed. Right? Mm-hmm. You have the riots in Milwaukee going like his white beat his ass. What violent racism is he talking about? You would not be able to escape.
Well, that's the thing. He's comparing, because they believe similar things. He's comparing them to people who were violent, and that's fine, because if we're doing that, because what he believes is him comparing himself to people who are far more violent. So it's just like, okay, that's fine. If you want to condemn yourself like this, you're a fucking moron. But don't think that it's one rule for one and one rule for another. But he doesn't think that. He automatically thinks it's one rule for one rule for another, because these people are fucking awful. That's why.
No, he's saying that violent racism will now have a voice in White House, right? What violent racism? Trump supporters are the ones who got beaten. Trump supporters are the ones who got killed. And unfortunately, someone who looked like Trump got killed in an SUV the other day.
Yeah, he did. He got someone trying to murder Trump, got murdered some innocent person instead because he looked similar.
Yeah, and he went in front of a judge and like, I killed Donald Trump.
Yeah, right? I did it on purpose.
So where is the violent racism? I guarantee to you, if someone would murder a woman that looks like Hillary Clinton, like, you would not hear the end of it. Every single news outlet.
And this person stood up in court and said, "Yeah, I killed Hillary Clinton."
Jesus Christ!
It would be never ending. There would never be a time. It'd be like Joe Cox. They would never stop talking about this person.
Imagine if Trump supporters would catch a black guy, strip him naked, and then start dragging him on the concrete. Like, imagine if that happened and there was video footage of it.
Yeah, like American History X style or something.
Yeah,
exactly. I know.
You would not hear the end of it. It would be on every single channel. It would be even on YouTube. It would be on Facebook, social media. Right? It would be a reason to impeach Trump.
Mm-hmm.
You would definitely not hear. And when black people are doing it, not a single peep. Absolutely nothing. And then it's like, oh, this type of violent racism. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So the next line I like as well. That violent racism will now have a voice in the White House is truly frightening. I am not the first, and I won't be the last to be harassed and threatened by Bannon, Trump, and co. He's
Trump
is harassing and threatening him here.
Yeah, he has Trumpophobia. If Islamophobia is a thing, Trumpophobia is a thing. When I hear millennials or social justice warriors going like, "Oh, I'm frightened by Trump," you have Trumpophobia.
Yeah,
and it's an actual. The funny thing is that it's an actual phobia. Trump isn't president yet, and they're afraid.
Yeah, no, it literally is an irrational fear with Trump. I don't think Trump's going to be anywhere near as bad as these people think.
You need to be fired. You have a phobia. That's how it works.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have a phobia, you need to be fired, and probably your parents need to be fired as well.
But even then, that's an interesting thing, isn't it? You know, a phobia is an irrational fear, and it's like, okay, well, it's not something they chose, so you can hardly blame them, can you? I mean, you know, you don't get to choose to be afraid of spiders. You don't, you know, it's not. It's
it's like if you chose to be afraid of gay people, if going to a movie that has gay people makes you scream because it's a horror movie and you're afraid, then you have homophobia. You know, if you're watching two trans people holding hands and you're screaming because you're afraid, then you have transphobia, right? Muslims, Islamophobia, and if you're fear of Trump, then it's Trumpphobia.
Yeah, but shaming people for something they can't help is
they can help. You know that this phobia isn't a thing.
I'm sorry, man. I can't help my Islamophobia. Islam's terrifying. I'm sorry.
I actually made my psychiatry teacher laugh when I was giving the psychiatry exam, you know, like at university. And he actually told me to define what a phobia is, and he's like, name me phobias, and I'm like, well, you know, arachnophobia, Islamophobia, and my teacher just started laughing. It's like it was like, oh, it's not a real phobia there.
Yeah, I love Eastern Europe. They just give up. But anyway, so he finishes with white supremacy is on the rise, and we must fight it by any means. In that fight, universities will need to choose whether they are on the side of free expression and academic debate.
Oh, now he cares about free. Oh, get the fuck out! Yeah, now he cares about free expression. Yeah. What about, you know, communism is on the rise, and we must fight it by any means.
Now that's my slogan.
I wonder what he thinks about it. It's like communism is on the rise, and we must fight it under any means. What would you say about that?
Well, he'd be like, "Well, I'm a communist. I like it." It's like, yeah, exactly.
Well, you're the problem. I must fight you by any means.
He says more information is available here, but it's all the same.
Again, I would like him to empathize on this. Like, we must fight it by any means. Yeah. Taking a crowbar and beating the shit out of people is
well, no. You have to understand that is exactly within this professor's realm of opinion. I mean, he did literally tweet out, "Make communism brutal again." Right. I'm just gonna go to the archive and just get some of his tweets up, just so you guys can see.
Yeah, this is another reason why people didn't think he was joking.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I thought he was joking as well. I looked at his Twitter account and I'm like, okay, no, he's not joking, most likely. Now he says he is joking. I mean, maybe he's saying it to get off the hook. But what the fuck else is he going to say? No, I really want to kill white people.
Yeah, and I can't remember what his bloody Twitter account was now.
Hammer and sickle, George. Hard communism.
Yeah, it's probably just like Proletariat George or something, isn't it?
Yeah, at Lenin.com. at Henry Marcuse.
Ask Lenin, yeah.
No, Marcuse, because he was the cultural Marxist.
Was he? Oh, I didn't know that.
Frankfurt School, parenthesis. Crush capitalism.
Oh yeah. You know, I bet he's got fucking loads of students who are very pro all this sort of stuff.
Churchill was a war criminal.
Oh my god, why? There we go.
Be right back.
Okay. Right, so yeah, some of his wonderful tweets. Here's the All I Want for Christmas is White Genocide one. Here is white isn't a race, which is lucky. I mean, who are you genociding if white isn't a race? To clarify, when the whites were massacred during the Haitian Revolution, that was a good thing indeed. So, I mean, that's kind of like when the kids were being butchered by these guys. Oh, yeah, that's just standing there going, yeah, it's no, that's a good thing. Yeah, there's a lot of blood everywhere. There are children screaming. They don't know what's going on. This is just the most inhumane thing ever, but this is a good thing. It's good. I mean, you might say it's justified, but I don't think you can say it's a moral good, can you? He's not alt-left. He's an actual communist. Make communism brutal again. That's my favorite one. That's the one.
Let's see what responses he got to such a interesting thing.
Not many, unfortunately. I'm just getting up. There are quite a few of his tweets in the archive.
I wonder if this guy knows that in Italy fascism rose as a response to communism. Like, I wonder if he understands that if he would actually make communism great again, he would create fascism.
Well, he already is. I mean, the reason that white genocide was trending on Twitter is because these fucking idiots have created and legitimized fascism.
I mean, that's and if you create fascism, you create communism as well. Like
that film when extended family of step-in-laws you've never met refuse to come to Christmas even if you're there. Nice little picture.
Oh my god. Fucking hell.
Oh, fucking hell, look at this. Look at him. He's tweeted out, what's missing from G_LAG? You. Oh, I'm sorry, George. I'm sorry if I'm missing from the gulags, am I?
My mom is missing from the gulags.
You know, George, I think this is missing free helicopter rides. That's what this is missing, George. Get in the fucking helicopter.
Oh my god.
We're memeing now. I mean, if you're big on memes and this is all just a prank, bro. It's just a fucking prank. Let's break out the memes, Fucking get the helicopters.
Is this the communist versions of memes? Is this?
Yes, these are the communist memes. Get in the gulags.
Like, how are they even funny? I mean, usually when the alt-right makes memes, it has something to do with reality or whatnot. Like, the only thing this guy is saying is that communism is fucking brutal. That's...
I mean that literally is his opinion on communism as well. Where's the?
Oh god.
Oh shit! Hang on, let's have a look. Let's look him up on Rate My Professor.
My students fucking love me. Overall quality, what?
Are you sure? Love it.
Is that a 10 or is it a 1.0? That's another question.
There we go. What? Hang on. Where has this come from? Because I've just looked it up and I'm not seeing it here. Apparently, I don't know where that's come from. I think they've doctored this because there doesn't appear to be any ratings on there for him.
Man, I love the fact that
to rate him.
Did you notice that I do something you don't, right? When I make a video about a journalist or someone like that, like this guy, I tag them in the video so that they can get notifications.
Mm-hmm.
And they all do the same thing. The moment people start tweeting at them, they make their tweets private. Did you notice that?
Mm.
They don't like to engage. They don't.
Of course.
They don't like to notice that people observe them and they are now under the microscope. They hate that. They only operate within the collective. They only feel safe when they gang up and they punch up people. They don't like individual thought. Even the professors, even like the ones that you'd expect they could hold their own.
Yeah, I'm just going to see if there's an archive for this because I'm wondering if it's been purged actually.
What criticism? That's capitalistic.
No, it doesn't appear to. Right, okay, that's. If anyone's got the link if these people are if they're tweeting from a link here, then I really want to see it because as far as I can see on Rate My Professor, he's got nothing on there.
Well, if he has nothing, then clearly he deleted it.
Well, I don't know whether he can delete it. That's the thing. But I mean, someone here has posted an actual review of him, and I don't know whether this is true. But I mean, maybe they modified it. I don't know. But pros: expansive knowledge on revolutionary political thinkers. Cons: class layout structure is rather insidious. Class layout is structured rather insidiously towards reaching Mars conclusions about violence and capitalism. What a fucking surprise! Who could have predicted this? So even if that's not true, I imagine they're probably, even if that isn't a real one, I think you could at best call this an artist representation.
Expansive knowledge on revolutionary political thinkers. I wonder if he actually
Yeah.
reads the controversy, like if he reads people who are against revolutionaries.
Of course he doesn't.
I mean,
Why would he do that? Jesus fucking Christ.
this is what I notice about the skeptic community. Like people like you know, you actually read bell hooks. You actually, yeah, I've read Marcuse. I mean, we do read the opposite things. I read Mein Kampf. I do read ideologies I disagree with, just to know what exactly they have to say. And I read the Daily Stormer as well.
I don't read the Daily Stormer, but that's because they're hardly academic.
It's a good website. You should read the Daily Stormer. It's very amusing. Do you know what was the most funny thing about the Daily Stormer?
Honestly, I think they've got an entire section dedicated to the Jews. I think that's the funniest thing about them.
Nah, the funniest thing about them is that they expect people to take them seriously.
No, they don't. You can't have an entire section dedicated to the Jewish problem for people and then go, well, you know, I need you to take me seriously right now. Just like, I bet they unironically use the term international Jewry.
They actually do use the international jury. The only website that's apparently more serious than the Daily Stormer, but it's still the same shit, is the Right Stuff right now.
Yeah, the Daily Shower or something, right?
Yeah, they're a little bit more seriously than the Daily Stormer.
Right. Okay. So, has anyone got a link to this guy's Rate My Professor with any info on? Because before it was like purged or something. I would love to see it because I'm looking as we're doing this and I just can't find anything. I'm just going to try another archive site for the Wayback Machine.
I wonder why we're not laughing at the white genocide, because it's funny.
No, nothing in there either. So
like the thing with the white genocide, that there are people who actually do have the desire to genocide white people. Like there was the German what was he? I think he was a professor or something who said that German people are dying and that's a good thing. And then there was in the parliament also a person who in the German parliament who said that, well, Germans are becoming less and less, and that's a good thing for Germany.
Okay.
So there are people who do want white people to die off. I mean, and most of them are part of this guy's ideology.
I love this, right? Sorry, I'm not alt-left. I'm just an actual communist.
Oh, well, that's okay. No,
yeah, that's okay. Some dude's like, dude, you're sitting in Starbucks as you write this, I'm sure. Communist my ass. You're just another champagne socialist. And that's very true. This guy fucking is. Absolutely is.
Capitalism has failed.
I love this as well. Communism has never been tried. Just a lot of dead people along the way.
Has there been a case of communism where they didn't shoot out intellectuals? I'm really curious. Like in any country where communism was invented and intellectuals didn't die. Hashtag fake news.
Yeah, I can't think of one. I can't think of a communist revolution that didn't result in unbelievable amounts of dead bodies. So.
Or enforced starvation. Like that's also a communist thing. I don't know the fetish about it. I mean, there's other ways to kill people, but it's just communism that keeps like enforcing starvation on populations.
Well, it's cheap, isn't it? If they're going to do anything, they've got to do it cheaply because they're poor as fuck. So yeah, white isn't a race. Let's see what people. Anything interesting going on here?
I think Pol Pot was the one who killed intellectuals and any people that had glasses and beards, because they might be intellectuals.
I actually love this, right? White isn't a race, and someone's like, black isn't a race. Then he's like, biologically, no. It's like, okay, George, you're a history professor, you don't have anything to do with medicine. So I can understand you not really understanding this. But if biologically we're not different, how do we have different color skin?
Not only that, but why is it that you can't use a transplant of, let's say, a spinal fluid from a black person to a white person?
Can't you?
No.
That's racist.
Yeah, it is.
Why not?
Because it's not compatible.
Okay,
it will be
go on.
It will be rejected by the host.
All right. See, this is what happens when you have a medical degree, isn't it, V?
Well, unfortunately, but it's not only that. You can also have like different bone structure. Like if you find the skull,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a dead body, you can identify the race of the person by looking at the skull. Like,
Really?
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Forensics can do that.
Really? I didn't know that. That's very interesting.
They can also identify if it's a male or a woman.
I mean, I knew that like certain races had propensity to certain kinds of diseases. So a doctor actually does need to know whether you're black or not.
Hold on, let me show you, because there's actually a chart that's used for this.
Oh, in fact, no. Someone actually said that just below, right? Black isn't a race, and he's like, biologically, no. And someone's like, race is a social construct. It's why forensic anthropologists can determine race by skull shape. This guy, he's just a total fucking ideologue. That's the problem.
No,
but this guy's actually a science denialist.
Yeah, can you put that in the so the people can see?
Okay, where's the glorious white skull?
On Skype. And
which one's the white skull? Number B?
Well, I have no clue. I didn't study forensics, but there are people who can tell you. I mean,
is it? I don't know which one is the Aryan skull.
The Aryan skull.
The glorious white master race. But the point is, someone in his comments had actually said this, and it's just like, I mean, this guy is just a science denialist. That's what it is. He actually thinks that there is biologically no difference between human beings. Like, okay, you have to explain the physical characteristics that people have in some other way than biology. Then,
why does he think blacks are so good at basketball then?
Or running?
Or running, yeah. Why is this a thing?
Why are Scandinavians so good at powerlifting? If you look at the strongest man in the world, man, they're always fucking Scandinavians.
Why are blacks so good at fighting games? No, I'm curious. I'm serious. If you look at the fighting game community, like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, and you go to Evo, either Chinese person or black person is going to win.
Yeah. Why are the Chinese so good at bureaucracy?
Years of communism.
Why are the Jews so good at counting shekels? There are so many questions. But
my favorite thing
isn't a scientist. He's a professor of history, so he's a philosopher probably at best.
Yeah, but these are the people lecturing you on gender theory.
Yeah, and he literally is a race denialist. So it's just like, I mean, and don't get me wrong, right? This is something that really annoys me. The alt-right will just be like, yes, they're different. They are different. So, yes, they are. So fucking what? We're not going to start creating rules because of people's races, you fucking idiots.
That's the thing. It's like, it's like, I know men and women are different, but they should be equal in front of the law.
Yeah, is that really so difficult? And it's just like, no, and it just sets a terrible fucking precedent. You end up going down a dark path. No, we've been there before. We're not going there again. No.
Yeah, it should be the same system for everyone.
Yeah.
And there's going to be people. It's like, oh well, what if I stereotype blacks? And when I see a black person, I guard my wallet. Like, I don't care what the fuck you think, but the law should be that if you don't steal, you don't get punished, regardless if you're white or not.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I'm loving this guy's tweets. I love getting. This is why I want this recorded, right? I want everything out of his brain that I can get just to show people, because it will be the funniest things in the world. So yeah, again, race. Can you clarify why white isn't race by black is? Political science student from Canada, curious about this distinction. Neither is biologically real. Both have political reality, but those realities are opposites: oppressor and oppressed.
The cultural Marxism.
Yeah.
Shit.
I mean, that obviously applies in Zimbabwe as well, if you don't know. I mean, the whites can't oppress.
I really what they have to say about that, actually, because they never talk about it. They'll probably say it's justified.
I love the biology students asking him questions like, "What? How is it biologically real? Don't we distinguish by phenotype differences based in biology?" Has he replied to this? No, of course he hasn't replied to that, because he would literally look at blackbonemarrow.com. Oh, dude, this is embarrassing, isn't it? It's like there are obviously genetic differences. Again, just how do you end up with different skin tones if it's not genetic? What explains
Racism is realizing that these are not the same species.
Okay, that actually is racism. So the same species.
No, you know what's the thing? Like, this is what the white nationalists don't understand either. There are differences, but they're not that major, right? They're really major when you have like the difference between a zebra and a horse. Like they can barely mate. You can at one point mate, but
they can't produce fertile offspring.
Yeah, they can't produce from. That's when you say, well, okay, this is too different, right? That they're now different species, right? But it doesn't happen with humans, at least not so far. So,
yeah, any human from a different area of the globe can successfully mate with another human. So this is how we know we're part of the same species.
Yeah, so the differences aren't that great.
No,
but they're not that far apart.
But the thing is, if he says that racism is biologically real, I mean, what is he suggesting that the black people were left out in the sun too long, which is why the skin's black?
I don't know.
Or that there's an environment. I mean, he must have some way, some environmental factor to explain why white people aren't black.
Maybe God made them this way.
Well, no, that would still be biological. It would have to be biological. I mean, it would be in the biology to put that much melanin in their skin. So, I mean, is he suggesting that white people are like sun bleached or something? Or they're like blasted with like salt rock or something to shred the melanin out of their skin? Or are we lacking in a certain vitamin or something? I mean, what is his explanation that's not biological for the color of skin?
These are the people that will school you on gender theory and that a man can transcend into a woman if he desires. These are the people that say hormone blockers are okay for children, which is basically chemically castrating your kid, right? So yeah, and they have absolutely no knowledge of science. They have absolutely no knowledge of biology. Yet they do think it's okay to impose their like stupid mentality on reality. It's like, yeah, if your 7-year-old wants to take hormone therapy, go for it. You know, if he wants to take puberty blockers, give it to him. Doesn't matter how old is he. 7, that's fine.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Chemically castrate that child.
Who are you to tell him? Yeah, who are you to tell Billy he's not a real girl?
Since we're on the subject, I love these pictures that the alt-right will produce. Right, they'll find the ugliest black person they can and the hottest white person they can. Listen, alt-right, I just want to point out, I have seen white women as ugly as that black woman, and if I could find some pictures if you want, and I could also find attractive black women and compare them, and then we would have the black supremacist version of your meme going, obviously white people are ugly degenerates. You know, for fuck's sake, it's so cheap. It's so cheap. But
and it actually makes the communists look good when you do that. Yeah, oh my God, no.
I hope you did all have a very commie Christmas. But I mean, didn't they ban Christmas?
Jesus Christ, they did. They actually forced people to work on Christmas. No, I'm not kidding. They forced people to work on Christmas, and they even changed Santa Claus. In my language, it's called Father Christmas, right? Yeah. So they called him Great Father Winter, and he was coming from Siberia, from Russia, and he was coming on New Year's, not on Christmas.
God, they're just the total. They're just exactly like SJWs. It's like, oh no, it's Happy Holidays. It's not Merry Christmas.
Yeah. So you weren't allowed to celebrate Christmas because the communists said, well, if God exists, then present him to us. If you can't present him to us, then that means he is made up and he is made to have the masses fall into the delusions of God. And yeah, if they were basically saying that the communist is fighting against mysticism and all of the superstitions that are keeping the working people oppressed. So if they would see you're going to a church, they would be like, why aren't you helping us fight against mysticism? Okay. And you'd be like, well, you know, because I'm religious, I believe in what. And they'd be like, okay, so what is your job? Well, I'm director at the factory, blah blah blah. And they would be like, well, you're not anymore, you know, because that's how they operate. They would get you fired if you.
Yeah. But what I love about this picture as well, right, is that how exactly is it any different to like this? What's the difference between the commie Christmas? I mean, it's just what's the difference?
The thing is that picture isn't even accurate, because if it was a communist regime, they will all be dressed the same, except Lenin. He would be able to have a suit, but all the kids would have the same clothing.
Yeah. So I'm just looking for a
that picture fake. The Christmas tree, the fact that they celebrating Christmas, and also the fact that they are not having the same clothing.
But yeah, well, it's a propaganda picture, isn't it? Obviously.
Well, there is a difference, actually. They had to kill black people in order to get to that. Can you show that before?
Did they?
Well, show me the first picture, the one with the white people, with Germany. Yeah, they killed the blacks. Look, the kid there, the one in the left, he's traumatized. He saw the blacks die. He saw the Holocaust.
Blacks? There weren't any blacks in Nazi Germany.
Well, that's because the Nazis killed them.
Oh, really? Okay, communist history there from V. So yeah, let's see what he says about the whites being massacred in Haiti. Haiti. Right. Okay. So
okay.
Women
Is this a joke as well?
Generally killed last. French women were often raped or pushed into forced marriages under threat of death. That's intimidating.
I like the fact that people are explaining history to this teacher.
To this history teacher, yeah. Well, that's the thing. He's obviously such an ideologue that he has read one side of it.
Yeah.
You know, and he's.
But is this a joke as well? I mean, honestly, is he making fun of the alt-right too in this tweet?
Presumably.
How is this funny? Well, where is the meme? I want to laugh.
It's just a meme, bro. It's just a meme.
The thing with Lenin, yeah, okay, that was funny, all right. It shows me that you don't. Yeah, it shows me that you don't understand communism. You're a retard. But it was funny. I give him that.
Western communist professor doesn't understand communism. Breaking, more 11. It's just the story of everyone's life.
I mean, okay, you can have the Christmas tree because they did have that in Romania, but at least the kids should have been dressed similar. They should have the uniform. They don't, right? That means there is diversity of choice. You can choose to dress differently, which is unacceptable in communism.
Fucking Merry Christmas. my favorite's this one. The dude's about to go Negan on someone, and just the poor. Oh, please stop! I'm just a child. No, don't care. Don't give a shit. You had this coming, child.
Who's going to go like V in Cyberpunk?
Basically, yeah.
Speaking of which, are we playing next week?
It depends on the other guys, but we can if they can.
It's going to be the second, so it should be.
Yeah. The wall can't come soon enough. Catapults you and every other Marxist back to wherever moronic leftist theories belong. Russia.
Oh, come on, Goy, you're kidding, right? This is a cock. He's massacred. It will be a good thing indeed.
Oh, fucking hell. These people bring it on themselves, I swear to God. They create the fascists. They absolutely create the fascists. A liberal professor, he's not a liberal, dude. That is wrong, factually wrong. Feigns outrage at attacks on him after he calls for a white genocide. I'm sure Drexel University takes all tweets from the account Obama sucks anus very seriously. Hey, dude, you're the one who's currently at the center of a media shitstorm and is about to get a dressing down from your own fucking university. So maybe you should mind the hubris just a little bit. I mean, Obama sucks anus raises a good point.
It is interesting because, as you said, these people create fascists and they're making Prince Charles concerned.
Yeah, exactly.
It is making Prince Charles concerned about this shit.
Fucking honestly. Right, yeah. Did we have a look at this abolished white race? What did they say?
Oh, God. How many
no one replied to that. That's disappointing.
So he randomly tweets shit like this. He wants people to get agitated.
Yeah.
He is creating a conversation.
Yeah. And this was back in 2015 as well.
I like the fact that he is verified. It's like when you see the blue shit on the Twitter, it means that guy is a total asshole. Is it just me, or is this a thing?
Yeah, it seems to be, doesn't it? I'm trying to get verified myself because I'm a total asshole as well.
Nah, you're not the right kind of asshole.
I know, but the thing is, I want to become the right kind of asshole. Because if I can get verified, then that means that every celebrity or fucking prick like this that I tweet, they'll come up in the little verified mentions bar that they get, and that'll be even more annoying for them. So I really want to get verified now.
Yeah, but you're not fun. You don't tag people in your videos.
No, I'll just do it on Twitter.
It's not the same. It's like when you get like 1,000 people tweeting at you the same video, like watch it.
So too bad. Fucking hell, what? Okay, so this chap from the Daily Caller, who is also verified, said, haha, too bad your petition to reinstate political editor Michael Hirsch for threatening violence failed. I didn't see that. Who was this? Oh, 128 people by George Cicero Omar. I love it. So reinstate Michael Hirsch. On November the 22nd, 2016, journalist Michael Hirsch was forced to resign as the national editor of Politico after releasing on Facebook the home addresses of avowed neo-Nazi, white supremacist, and anti-Semite Richard Spencer. Right, okay. Fucking hell, man. These people, they're horrible, aren't they? They're just fucking horrible. Yeah, I don't like Richard Spencer either, but I wouldn't go after him. Right, okay, this explains why Richard Spencer's doing like some crowdfunding thing, and he begins it like a fucking Anita Sarkeesian Kickstarter, man.
Well, hold on.
Oh, fucking hell.
Neo-Nazis, white supremacists still have the right to privacy.
Yes,
I'm sorry, but in the society we live in, even communists like Mr. George, I would not post his public his home address.
No, of course not.
Right? I mean, just because you're a communist and you're from a horrible ideology that killed millions of people, that does not mean it's okay for people to post your home address.
I'm just going to rent a helicopter. That's all. It's not, I'm not going to dox you. Christ. But no, seriously, Ray, this explains everything. Because Richard Spencer's doing some crowdfunding campaign. He was complaining about his mum being harassed. And it sounded just like Brianna Wu's victim narrative. Like, oh my God, I'm being harassed out of my home. Right, give me some money, by the way. And it came off as so... maybe it's just me. Maybe I was being unfair. And honestly, now that I've seen this, I kind of think I might have been being unfair to him. That he was, I thought he was just playing the victim, and so yeah, maybe I need to apologize for that because I was being unfair. I'd have to say a bit more, but yeah, basically it sounded like just this SJW victim narrative to make my Patreon stuff. So it was just so I naturally dismissed it as it was, but maybe this is all connected because. Yeah, I mean this Politico journalist again. I love that we've already gone over Politico's politically neutral stance, and this is why this guy got fired. So, while right-wing news sites encouraged Hirsch of encouraging violence against Spencer, what he actually said was, "Our grandfathers brought baseball bats to Bund meetings. Want to join me?" How's that not a threat of violence? How's he not encouraging violence there?
I'm trying to think.
He's suggesting that they get baseball bats, and then he's doxing him.
Maybe they want to play baseball, or I don't know.
It's an obvious intimidatory tactic. I mean, that couldn't be any more obvious, right? And then he says, Hirsch's reflection on the very real fear that Jews have suffered historically, and their very justifiable self-defense against racist violence should be celebrated, not punished. Right? Okay, so. Okay,
yeah,
okay. But you guys hate Jews as well.
They do, especially white Jews.
Yes. But don't claim to be like the.
A lot of people see that fascism is against Jews and communism is for Jews. Listen, in communism, Jews got nationalized as well. Intellectual Jews got killed as well. Just because it wasn't explicitly against Jews doesn't mean Jews didn't suffer from the effects.
It wasn't pro-Jew.
It wasn't pro-Jewish. I mean, that there were certain Communist Party members that were Jewish. That is true.
But there were Nazi members who were Jewish.
There were Nazi members who were Jewish. There were Jewish collaborators with the Nazis, because this is what a lot of people forget. That the Nazis... Yeah, the Nazis actually did think there are certain people called good Jews, that were collaborating, and they were helping the Nazi Party. But the thing is, this is what I'm trying to say, that communism killed a lot of Jews as well. If you are an intellectual, and a lot of Jewish people were, they were writing books, they were talking against communism, they got killed with everyone else. Journalists as well, that, spoke against the party, or they were in a publication that the party didn't like before they got into power. Wealthy people that were Jewish, and they tried to prevent being nationalized, they got killed, beaten. But no, people keep forgetting that. It's like, oh, communism, pro-Jewish. Of course.
Yes, okay. In a moment characterized by resurgent white supremacy and anti-Semitism, Hirsch is one of the few voices challenging the media normalization of the likes of Spencer. For that, he should be lauded. Reinstate Michael Hirsch immediately. So you're suggesting that this man, because he's doing something you like, should be allowed to buck the rules of the place that he works. I mean, he's deliberately releasing this guy's address so people can threaten and harass him. I mean, and then he has the gall to go, well, I've had death threats. I've been threatened. I've been harassed on Twitter. Well, you're pro-threatening and harassing on Twitter.
As a capitalist, yeah, I know the Nazis are horrible people, and I also know the communists are horrible people. You are just like the Nazis in my eyes.
Yeah, but this is my point. This guy's a giant fucking hypocrite. He is in favor of harassment when it suits him, but not in favor of harassment when it doesn't. I mean, when he's getting harassed on Twitter, you go, well, I think this is okay. I would harass someone if I had the power to harass someone. So what the fuck am I complaining about? You know, this is what this guy is. He's a fucking hypocrite. He's a communist. He's a communist in the West.
Man, I'm honestly sorry that America didn't have communism, so that these people would never want it again.
Yeah.
It's like,
it is sad.
It's like, you know, America's like, oh God, we didn't have communism. Oh, we're missing out. You know, maybe we can get some now.
I love this. Firing Mr. Hirsch buttresses the false equivalence between people who would merely use Mr. Spencer's address to write him with requests to stop poisoning the national discourse and those blatantly violence-praising elements on the far right who issue home addresses of private figures while making over threats. That is what you're doing. I'm going to put the claps in. That's you fucking idiots. You're just left-wing. Fucking hell. I feel like I'm dealing with morons.
You know, that's actually interesting. A lot of the left-wing, the social justice warriors, you know, they were complaining about Christians for being non-tolerant, for censoring free speech, for doing all of that shit during the Bush administration. And when they got into power, they did exactly the same shit.
Yeah, Obama's been using the fucking
the NSA.
Yeah, no, not just the NSA. He's been sending the people, his political enemies, to be repeatedly audited by whatever fucking agency.
Well, that's a really Romanian tactic to do.
Yeah, he's been doing that. Man. That's the thing.
Yeah.
To suggest that the left won't use these things is just absurd. They do it constantly.
That's how Romania would get rid of mosques. They would start auditing them and shit. you don't have to close them down, you know. Yeah. Eventually, they will close down themselves. They'll be like, "Oh fuck, another audit."
Yeah. But yeah, so he's super embarrassed that his petition didn't work, but he's still on team kill Nazis because why wouldn't he be? And I love how Karl Marx here has liked that, but it wasn't very popular. So. Right, okay, this is an interesting one. I think he delineates himself between liberals and communists there. Hillary is losing half of union households and getting routed in the Rust Belt, abandoned by Clintonism. It's your mess, liberals, own it. He says, and then someone says, Clintons are not liberals. Liberals supported Bernie. I certainly blame the Dems, though. Did he reply further to this? I thought he did. Maybe I'm thinking of somewhere else where he said something. So I looked through these last night. But to be fair, right? Yeah, that's actually true. This is an accurate assessment of what's happened here. But yeah, that's not too exciting. this Jesus Christ, I love this. Come on, load, you piece of shit. Thank you. So he tweets out that feel when you want to white genocide Maria Corina already, but there's a camera pointed at you. Oh, poor Mexican, you can't white genocide.
You think white Jews should be genocided as well, or just...
Do I think it, or does he think it?
Yeah, if he thinks it.
No, that's a question. You can't just go yeah to that. If he
if he thinks it, yeah.
He probably is a Jew.
He probably is a Jew. How can we tell?
Because
do we have some neo-Nazi experts here that can...
Yeah. Are there any coincidence detectors in the audience? Seriously though, I do get annoyed with how often these people are Jewish.
Is
It just annoys
Sicariello?
me.
Is Sicariello a Jewish
No,
name?
it annoys me because it means I always get alt-right people going, "See, we told you," and I'm like, "It's just a coincidence," and they're like, "Yeah, coincidence." It's like, oh, for fuck's sake, it always is a coincidence. You know?
There's probably an explanation for why it is.
Yeah, it probably is. It's probably because Jews are overrepresented because they work really hard in schools. They get good grades. They go on to get good jobs and academic positions and blah blah blah. It's not a giant conspiracy. It's just it's just always a coincidence.
Well, Slate.com actually talks about
It was the IRS,
this.
by the way.
Hold on. Put this article on because you might like it. It's from Slate.com and they talk about this case.
Well, the case of the Jews.
No. The George, the professor.
Okay. Drexel University apparently unfamiliar with white supremacist lingo. Why would they be?
I don't know. I'm sorry if most people aren't informed with white supremacist lingo.
Yeah,
okay?
Exactly. That's so stupid a thing to say.
Maybe Slate.com.
Hang on. Maybe if Drexel University opened a white supremacist wing and hired, white professors, that they could propagate their message, people would be more familiar with it. Do you think? Is that what you want?
Actually, it would be a good idea to have like students going from communism to white nationalism, and then another class of capitalism, and at the end of the day, decide for themselves which one of the three systems is superior.
Yeah, the liberal one will be way more popular than any other one.
Yeah, they're at least not telling people how to think.
Okay, so how exactly is this interesting? What's in here?
Breitbart, as usual, was the most openly racist about it. The writer Warner Todd went out of his way to link Chicarello to the largest university in Mexico, apparently as a disqualifying factor, and characterized his Twitter feed as filled with hateful, obnoxious messages, anti-Americanism, slams of President Donald Trump, attack on Jews, as well as pro-Black Lives Matter and pro-communist sloganeering.
Hang on. How
is it racist? All of it is true, for fuck's sake.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, there is nothing inaccurate about that description. In fact,
probably because pro-Black Lives Matter is not a cool thing. That's racist.
Well,
because Black Lives Matter is all black.
Saying that he is pro-Black Lives Matter isn't racist. That's true. I mean, even being pro-Black Lives Matter isn't racist.
No. I mean, Breitbart probably didn't like the fact that he's pro-Black Lives Matter, and that's racist.
Of course they didn't. But I mean, like, if they're quoting them directly here, then this is not a racist quote. And if that's the best they've got, why didn't they quote the racist part of the article if they're going to quote anything? But okay, the story quickly went as viral as dysentery.
Oh my god!
It's way all across the right-wing media. Okay, no, this is great. Now you know how it feels when, say, like Protein World get theirs splattered all across the dysentery-covered fucking left-wing media. This is exactly the same fucking thing. They're just
the Nobel Prize winner, or Matt Taylor with the shirt.
Exactly. They're just copying you fucking cucks.
Or the guy who tweeted your song from your channel, Richard Dawkins.
That's right. He got in a hell of a lot of trouble. It gave him a fucking stroke.
And he got reinvited. See, all it takes to get reinvited is have a stroke.
No, it just caused massive outrage. So no, you can't say Richard Dawkins is a white supremacist, you fucking idiots.
Well, Richard Dawkins probably doesn't have the balls to tweet the Islamic video with the truck now.
Well, he is in his mid-70s, and I think he's trying to retire a bit from it. I think in his youth he would have done.
I think Hitchens would have done it.
Yeah, but Dawkins wasn't afraid of controversy, man. He's not a coward.
No, he's
not a coward at all.
I mean, he was fighting the Christians. Why wouldn't he fight the social justice warriors?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Okay. So. Okay, so they talk about white genocide. Yeah, okay, we agree that it's...
In other words, it's nothing but grabbing at Lathrop's worst fears. Lothrop Stoddard's worst fears, except Stoddard could write coherent, if deplorable, sentences. Jesus Christ.
I love the way they use the word deplorable, like anyone gives a shit about their opinion.
Yeah, we had a voting booth. People went there, they voted, and they decided they don't give a shit about your opinion.
Yeah, literally. That's exactly what's happened in Britain, in America, and next year that's what's going to happen in Europe. They're going to be like, oh my god, why are we so unpopular? It's because you're cucks. You're horrible cucks as well. You're angry little cucks. You're angry that someone else is shagging your wife. That's the problem you're having.
To be fair, in Germany, Angela Merkel might win again. I would not.
Yeah, I know, but in France, in the Netherlands, it is not looking fucking.
I don't understand the fetishism with Germany.
The Germans are brainwashed.
It's a fetish at this point. Okay, once was okay, twice was fun, 3 times was suspicious, but the 4th. Mate, like people bitch about Putin. It's like, oh, why did Putin have so many elections? And he's like the leader of Russia now. He's the dictator. Angela Merkel is running on the 4th term. Okay.
Yeah.
She's not.
What? I think Merkel looks quite fetching in a burqa.
She does.
Proper matronly.
Yeah.
Mama Merkel will protect everyone. Look at that fucking. This is what you get, Merkel. This is what you get.
Is that
for some reason she's looking like a good choice, and I don't know why. I mean, haven't enough people suffered under her tenure yet? How many have to suffer before they decide, well, maybe we should just choose anyone else? I mean,
I don't know. If the Germans re-elect her again, I will not feel sorry for them. Every time there's a terrorist attack, I'll be like, oh, fuck it, it's in Germany. Why do I care?
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. I mean, they'll just become non-news. It'll become news when it happens outside of Germany.
At this point, the whole refugee crisis, it means they're okay with it. Like, they want it. Like, if you vote for Merkel, it means you're okay with that shit.
Yeah, you want it, yeah. Because that is what you're voting for, because that's her fucking policy. So, and even when she said, oh, maybe it was a mistake, maybe we shouldn't have all these things. Oh, fuck off. Just fuck off. It's way too late for that, isn't it, Merkel? Maybe after all of this shit happened, maybe it was a bad thing. It's like, no, I don't care. Fuck off. So, okay, so white genocide is bullshit. Yeah, okay. His thing, right? Okay, there's not much there really.
Oh, I think this is it.
Mass violence against LGBTQ Latinos in a country that openly... No, it's Latinx, George. You fucking misgendering piece of shit. It's Latinx.
Latinx.
Yeah, Francesca Ramsey taught me. In a country that openly embraces violence against LGBT and Latino people, no other facts are relevant. What are you talking about? What country? What country? Oh, right. What? Gays and Muslims unite. Fight all hate. Should we tell them or just let them find out for themselves? I think we should probably tell them. They won't listen, but...
Well, it's not like people are completely happy with Merkel. I, for one, never voted for her, and many people I know didn't.
And yet, she's going to be your next prime minister or chancellor again. So what now? If people are unhappy with her, why does she keep winning? That's honestly my question.
What if she's rigging the elections?
No. Surely not. I mean, is there any evidence to suggest it?
Well, the question is, are the Muslims going to vote?
Well, to be honest with you, I think the Desert Fox here has got the right impression. Ooh, yeah, tread on me, baby. I think that is the Germans.
Will the refugees have a right to vote? That's the question. Because then it's going to be really hard for her not to get reelected if the refugees can vote.
Well, yeah, that is a good question. I mean, it's just all ridiculous. Anyway,
then I can't blame the German people,
Mm-hmm. So we're currently at 11,241 signatures. They're currently at 6,682 signatures. So at least we're almost double them, but that's still. I mean, come on, we can do better than that, can't we, guys? I mean, we've got to fucking have a bit more of an impressive majority than that. It's disappointing. Come on, we need to really sort of wow them.
Anyway, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, unless anyone else has got anything, then I guess we'll stop because I can't think of anything else to go through. I think we've been pretty thorough. We've given his statements a full airing, I think, unless anyone else has got any. I can't find anything else. I'll see if I'll find some videos of him or something. See if I can find anything interesting at some point. But that'll be for another time. Right. Okay. So.
Oh, look at this.
Okay.
V and Sargon Avocado. It's because of stupid elder people that think, my father always voted the Christian Democrats, Merkel's party, and I will always did. So fuck what happens. I will stay loyal.
That's a stupid opinion to have.
Mate, I think there are people who treat politics like football. It's like I always rooted for this team, or I always voted for this party. I will still vote for them.
That's fucking bizarre. If I would, I can't. Whatever. Fucking people are idiots.
Would you vote Conservative in Britain?
If I needed to, if there was a good reason to do so, I'd vote Labour if there was a good reason to do so. There isn't, but you know, what are you going to vote?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, okay, right. I'll speak to you later. Thanks for watching. Cheers.